Up in the Dumbo, smoking the gumbo. Few blocks before green, yeah, up in the jungle, coking the bundles. It's history in the making. I'm popping like fish to the grease and the bacon. My bitch is Jamaican. United we stand, dividing these bands. They hide in their hands. I'm riding in vans, slide through your land. Hopping the sprinters, tour the underworld, popping the minter. Land of the turtles, I'm popping that splinter. Watching the snowfall, dropping the winter. Dodging the pitfalls, watching this bitch fall. And I still managed like Rich Paul. The paper was calling, I had to go switch calls. I spoke to my twin, I told my young boys I'd never be broken again. Invoking the gins, spitting the spirits, I'm soaking the gin. Your man's in the woods, we smoking on him. Fuck do you mean? We up and squeeze, tuck it and leave, we leaving a stain. Fuck up for breeze, running the banks, causing a crashing. Feather the feds, Moorish the fashion. Horse was smashing, kicking the door. Waving for force, it was blasting. Mother the gassing, loving the passion. Eat on your food, the brother was fasting. The weapon that formed against me was me. Up in the Dumbo, smoking the gumbo. Few blocks before green, yeah, up in the jungle, coking the bundles. It's history in the making. I'm popping like fish to the grease and the bacon. My bitch is Jamaican. United we stand, dividing these bands. They hide in their hands. I'm riding in vans, slide through your land. Hopping the sprinters, tour the underworld, popping the minter. Land of the turtles, I'm popping that splinter. Watching the snowfall, dropping the winter. Dodging the pitfalls, watching this bitch fall. And I still managed like Rich Paul. The paper was calling, I had to go switch calls. I spoke to my twin, I told my young boys I'd never be broken again. Invoking the gins, spitting the spirits, I'm soaking the gin. Your man's in the woods, we smoking on him. Fuck do you mean? We up and squeeze, tuck it and leave, we leaving a stain. Fuck up for breeze, running the banks, causing a crashing. Feather the feds, Moorish the fashion. Horse was smashing, kicking the door. Waving for force, it was blasting. Mother the gassing, loving the passion. Eat on your food, the brother was fasting. The weapon that formed against me was me. Perfected the storm as Bentley receipts. Washing the Benjis, we rinse and repeat. Sanctuary of self, I'm centered on me. Red as the pillar, I'm pushing the piece. Higher the level, I'm pushing the keys. They going for 19. The summer is mine, I'm going for 19. Thunder and lightning flooded the bright lane. The hunger was biting, biting.
Yeah. That part. That right there, ladies and gentlemen, is Red Opal off of the new project. I don't know when that shit is coming, but it's coming. It'll be here soon. One of these days. Eventually. The name of the project is We Buy Red Gold, and the producer on that, his name is Rain, like the rain 910. If y'all into music, if you outside, you know who Rain is. You know what I mean? I don't gotta explain. You know, niggas that know, Rain is that dude. Shout out to Rain. You know what I mean? If you heard Candy Rain, definitely not before the summer. I ain't gonna hold you. Definitely not before the summer. It'll be a summer album, but I don't think it's coming before the summer. I can't keep up with the motherfucking time. The shit going too fast. I can't. The shit's coming before 2029. To be, I can't promise anything in these days with the time moving until I figure this shit out. I can't tell nobody about no dates on anything. You know what I mean? I canceled a whole bunch of shit that I had coming up because time is just not playing right. I'm not fucking with time. I gotta figure out time. I gotta reconfigure what the fuck is time in these days because it's just moving too fast for me. You know what I mean? It really is. I've been trying to get up at 4 a.m. That shit is not working. We just gotta figure this out, bro. Because I don't know what the fuck happened to April. I don't know. Yeah, Auto GPT. As the world is becoming more automated, time is going like this. Shout out to all of my family over on Discord. I have not forgot about y'all. It is big love for the Masters of the Universe Discord. I actually had a conversation with Brother Rich. He's the one who's calling the shots over there, and we're gonna be able to pull up on y'all this before the end of this strong and whatnot, I did have a conversation with him as early as this rising. We were in the studio up until 7 a.m. working on Holy Ghost Part 3 with Cambada. Cambada was out here in Atlanta. We was locked in, working on the project. I'm just here to let you know that shit right there is fire. Okay, fire. Whatever he brings, just just know that this man was in the lab cooking, and Cambada is an alien. One, he's not human. Two, and he's 10x his skill set. He's gotten about 10 times better because my good brother Cambada has joined the the father's club. He's a father now. Okay. So the Cambada that y'all were used to, right? The alien that you were used to, he didn't have children prior to that. His perspective on all things human and life itself was somewhat, quote unquote, skewered. Now, as a father, there's a different perspective. So I look forward to not only hearing it myself, I want y'all to hear it. I want y'all to hear it because the brother has some insights that is very you know, very instrumental for anybody out there that's going through their transformation process. Because we listen to these artists and we listen to their music and whatnot. Some people want to be like these artists. Some people want to emulate these artists. Some people say to themselves, damn, that artist is so nice. I want to do everything that they did because I want to be nice like that. So before, I know a lot of people who listen to Cambada would run into me and be like, yo, what kind of drugs is he on? Because I'm willing to go and take those drugs, right? Because he talks about DMT, LSD, acid. Um, he talks about shrooms a lot. He talks about a lot of what is known as defocalizing substances, right? He's not a drug dealer, right? He doesn't promote selling drugs, and he doesn't promote what I call drugs. And I'm using the word drugs, but they're not necessarily drugs. You know what I mean? They're scheduled as drugs based off of the FDA and the government. However, we talking more about plant-based medicine. We talk about shrooms, plant-based. DMT, by the way of Bufu, plant-based. Um, DMT, by the way of just straight extract, plant-based. LSD, not plant-based, more like a chemical and whatnot. Psilocybins, plant-based, right? So he talks about plant-based medicines, that, prior to this explosion of it becoming recreational, these medicines were administered by shamans to take spiritual journeys to go within and to fix some things that may have been broken. That's initially what a lot of these ayahuasca, you know what I mean? Hape, you know what I'm saying? All of these. So people will run into me and be like, yo, I heard him rapping about LSD, DMT. It must be the drugs that's making him nice like this. So that spawned a movement of recreational experimentation that I see personally blossoming in the conscious community, and it has even spilled over into the broader hip hop community in Atlanta, where I domicile. Man like 2 Chainz, right? 2 Chainz, he's leading a revolution amongst hip hop artists in Atlanta experimenting with mushrooms, all right, or what they call psilocybin, or what they call psilocybins and whatnot, ethnogens. 2 Chainz is behind that. 2 Chainz is pushing that real heavy, even to the extent where he's having themed parties and everybody's on shrooms. He's having like 1970s hippie themed parties, and basically everybody is on shrooms. And the music sounds different, the conversation is different. There's a lot of, it's not like you standing around grilling each other like how you would if you was drunk off of the spirits, right? So Two Chains is leading that, right? uh I think Metro Boomin, Boominati, there's a lot of them pushing that. Boozy Badass, my birthday twin, he's pushing the shroom movements amongst gangsters, strippers, hoes, shooters, and a lot of niggas in the underworld. They're following him, and they're having like ski trips where everybody's popping shrooms, or they're having those weekend retreats in the woods and whatnot where they get ratchet. They bring the strippers out, they do shrooms, and they have sex, right? However, think about it. What is intentionally done under the guise of, having fun or recreation, could ultimately lead to them healing, right? It's not the same to where if I say that there's a Molly, they're having parties where everybody's on Molly and Percocets, or they popping beans, or they drinking on drink and whatnot, they sipping on muddy, they're on opioids. I can't necessarily say in that experiment people are gonna come into a sense of healing by fucking with a whole bunch of chemicals, because we know that that's not what's about to happen. What's about to happen is some unwanted pregnancies, some chlamydia being passed around, you know what I mean? And some horror stories about all of the things that can go wrong, will go wrong when you are doing what? When you're lampooning in the sewer, in the septic tank of your lower self, right? When you're playing around in the mud, you're bound to get dirty. So if anybody invites you to a crack party, or a party where they're doing fentanyl, or a party where they're doing Molly Percocets, or a party where they're doing a little bit of MDMA and some X, or a party where they're sipping on lean, you should politely decline that offer, because I would look at the stats. I would just look at the stats, right? I would look at the statistics, and I would say, based off of the statistics, we can tell that that shit doesn't end well. Okay. Just based off of the stats, no judgment. However, there are thousands of police reports that indicate that something always goes wrong. And on the flip side of that, things have gone wrong in this community when dealing with healing. It's not perfect, right? I'm in Atlanta. Atlanta has horror stories in terms of people who have administered the wrong type of medications, or they were not qualified. People have taken shit into their own hands. They're self-anointed shamans out here who did not go through the training, and they're taking people on some bad trips. I heard some horror stories. I heard some horror stories. However, when done properly and responsibly, and with the purpose to whereas individuals are not running around where they're letting ego lead, and they're humbling themselves, and they're allowing somebody who has more knowledge to educate them or to hold their hand and lead them, we have great results as a result of that, right? So we know when it comes to these powerful medicines, there is a level of discipline that has to be interjected. There's a level of, because intention is one thing, but there should be somebody who is trained and responsible driving that quote unquote boat. If not, you're bound to crash. Let's do the roll call, because it's a lot of men and women them in the building tonight. So I just want to be able to document where we all tapping in from, so we could actually see this grid come together. Maybe one day somebody in the audience will, they would feel and they would feel compelled to create, like a visual representation of what the shout out or what the roll call really looks like. Like when I say Frisco, Cali, Yeah, I want to see that neighborhood. I want to see Frisco. I might want to see the globe, and I want to see what parallel that's on. Then when we say ATL, I want to automatically see what parallel line that's on. Where's Harlem? Where's that parallel line? Right? We'll cross over to West Los Angeles. What does that look like on the grid? What about San Francisco? What does that look like on the grid? Let's light the grid up. Arizona's in the building, Phoenix to be exact. Light the grid up, you know what I mean? Because you represent a node in the grid. You are the quote unquote energy node on your grid, College Park. You lighten up your whole goddamn the whole parallel line. It could be one person. You could be that one person that's holding down that whole grid. Go and study geodetics, my friends. Please study geodetics. Study uh, morphogenetic codes and whatnot. Study morphogenetic sciences. Understand the science behind the roll call. Why am I calling out all of these different places? Because y'all represent the different nodes and whatnot, and we're all connected. Belize is in the building. We're all connected. Please believe when I say it, right? Please believe when I say it. We haven't necessarily really seen what that power looks like, but we are. Charlotte in the building. All right. Shout out to Charlotte. Did y'all see that Netflix is coming out with a series about Charlotte as a mulatto woman, right? Netflix is on their shit. They just put out Cleopatra that I didn't see. And now they're putting out Queen Charlotte, and they're both melanated. And these Europeans are having a hard time accepting that. And, uh, man, their tears taste so good. I drink it in mason jars because white tears in a mason jar, it just tastes like summertime. You know what I'm talking about? It's not really seasoned, it's unseasoned tears, and it's not even salty. It's just like clear, but it tastes good. Maryland in the building, Arizona in the building, Cleveland, Ohio. I'm talking about, yeah. Give me the slang. Yeah, 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 yeah. What they call your hood? What they call your hood? Uh-huh. You know, shout out to all of my Queen Charlottes that live in Charlotte. I heard about y'all. Y'all out there looking all majestic, you know, just the pie in the eye of the white man running around Charlotte. I see y'all. Illinois in the building, North Carolina in the building, Jamaica in the building. You know what I'm talking about? Saint, you is misery. Damn, that's what it is. You feel me? Shout out to y'all. France is revolting again, as they should, right? As they should. Remember, they were doing the yellow vest protest before COVID hit. Remember that? They was shutting down France with the yellow vest protests. And then it kind of like died out because of the C-19, but they're back at it. You know what I'm talking about? They're back at it. Tear France up. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to all of the people running around with the spirit of my dude France. What's his name? That wrote the book, France Fernand. Well, let me pull that up. What's my dude? Black Jacobins. Shout out to my dude. All right. Not Franz Ferdinand. Um, yeah, my guy. Black skin, white mask, right? My dude. Who saw Battles of Algiers? It's a documentary about the revolution that took place in Algiers, Battle of Algiers. That was That was fire. So yeah, man, there's a lot of things going on in the news. We're gonna touch on some of the, financial news stories that are taking place right now. I have a special guest pulling up today uh, in the building. My good brother Nkiru is gonna pull up real quick and chop it up. And then I also have another guest in the building. The Blue Pillar should be chopping it up as well and pulling up, you know what I mean? And that's what it do, you know what I'm saying? We are going to we're gonna chop up some game. Who saw Mocha Fest? No, what is Mocha Fest? I didn't see that. Yeah, France phone. Yeah, yes, my guy right there. You know what I mean? That's my guy. That's my guy. That's my guy. You know, Bad News in the building. Shout out to Bad News VA. Always show us love when we pull up to Bad News. Yeah, shout out to y'all and whatnot. Shout out to Texas in the building. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to all of my Patreons. I appreciate all of my Patreons. Special announcements for my Patreons in the month of May. We have two separate lectures that are coming to Patreon. Two separate lectures slash um, slash seminars in the month of May. We're going to have American Gods Part 6. And then we also have an AI lecture that's going to be coming to Patreon for Patreon only. And for my brothers and sisters who are interested in a high level course that's going to make you basically it's gonna tighten you up in all things AI business wise, so you know what to do and you take advantage of what's going on. We have 40 AI in a mule. That course is 89% ready. All right, for all of my Patreons who want to be a part of it, along with my bros and sisters from the Masters of the Universe workshop. All right. We have a code for y'all specifically. All right. We have a code for y'all. I want y'all to be, I'm going to give all of my patrons the opportunity, and also my brothers and sisters from Masters of the Universe, the opportunity to be a part of this at a discount. So we're going to look out for you. So we'll be dropping that code right now. All right. Let me drop that in the chat. All right, and you could use this at checkout, and it's going to save you substantially. Okay, so let me drop that. Save 22. Boom. There you go. So Mocha Fest was Freaknik Revisited. A word? Where that's at? Where that's at? Where can I see the Mocha Fest thing and whatnot? Where can I learn more about that so I could get some insight? Aesthetic nihilism. Yes, sir, more power. You already know what it is. You know what I mean? Aesthetic nihilism. There's so much to talk about during American Gods that we're gonna be exploring and whatnot. There's so much going on. They done took down my nigga, what's his name? And they took my dude down. They took down motherfucking Kang the Conqueror, Jonathan Majors. His ass is out of here. They took him down. Over here, we got Technical Boy, Dr. Manhattan, and Thanos. You know what I mean? So we're gonna get busy, and we're really gonna do a deep dive during the American God series because it's a lot of shit going on that needs to be talked about. You feel me? You had to share that red opal on your FB. Yeah, that shit fire. You know what I mean? I appreciate the share, getting the word out. But yeah, that shit is it's a bop. You know what I mean? It's a bop. If somebody else made that shit, I would repost it because, you know, A bop is a bop. You know what I mean? A bop is a bop. That beat is fire. The beat is crazy. The beat is the shit that really got me going. Like when I heard the beat, I just was like, yo, like what the hell? That shit just talked to me. And then, you know, I went to New York. I caught the vibe of New York, you know, and I just went to town and I recorded it, you know. So here we are. You feel me? Here we are. The video is gonna be crazy. I'm gonna shoot a video. Um, it's not on streaming platforms. It's just right now. It's just the YouTube. I just have one of these. I have
Up in the dumb.
what they call the lyric video. I'm gonna get it mixed down. That's why it's not on streaming platforms. As you can hear it, it's not mixed the right way. So once we finish getting it mixed, we'll upload it. I'm waiting for my artwork to come back, and we'll put that on a platform. I would say by this week. If not in this strong, if not 7 days from now, by next strong. But I just want to when we mix it down, it's gonna hit even harder. I want you to hear all the instruments. You feel me? I just really want you to feel that song. Um, I'm working, y'all. You know what I mean? I'm working. I got a lot of quote unquote, creativeness wise. I got a lot to prove. I got a lot to prove. I'm currently being slept on, right? Like I'm an air mattress. I'm currently being slept on by myself, you know. The weapon formed against me was me. So I'm at war or I'm about to confront myself and get this shit over with. First and foremost, I gotta convince myself that I'm not who I say that I am. You know what I mean? So movies, shows like Wu Tang on Hulu, the American Saga, it was a great booster. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about? Yes, yes, Forever the 420. Yeah, so definitely a roll-up song. It's definitely a roll-up song. It was made for all of my people with CBD and THC in their lungs. Um, did I tell y'all the good news about the that we're officially in the business? Did I give y'all the good news that we are officially in the business? Okay, me and Blue Pill, we officially have a brand, a strain with our name on it. This is called Delta 88, and we got Delta 40, 44. You know what I'm talking about? These is real packs, my niggas. You know what I'm talking about? We was smoking on Carol and Jerry Springer the whole weekend. We was smoking on Jerry Springer. That shit was hitting. Fuck my lungs up. And we was smoking on the lady who was accused of trying to the lady that lined my nigga Emmett Till up, or my good brother Emmett Till, the young god. You know what I mean? Carol, what's her name? I don't even want to know her name. Well, this is the thing. This is the thing. This is the great thing that I wanted to make the announcement for the packs, right? Carol Dunham, right? Carol Dunham, the same last name of Obama's maternal side, right? The science on Delta 88 is cleaner than GMO THC. That's the science. It's still going to get you there. It's legal, right? So I could talk about it and not, worry about somebody snitching on me. But this is a little bit better. It hits better than that government sponsored GMO THC that they out here niggas is overdosing on and whatnot. So I like to extract the oil from the CBD. I like to hit the oil and whatnot. But yeah, I blow these shits. I blow this down. CBD is it has medicinal purposes to it. It has medicinal purposes to it. So this is what we're proposing. We are in the spirit of giving, of course, right? This is a new product. Um, I definitely want to get everybody acquainted with it. I know I have some people out here that are smokers. We're not gonna act like, what I mean? We know what it is. You know what I'm saying? People like to keep their lungs occupied with that good smoke. So we are giving away 44 packs, right? Either the 8 or the 4, right? The 4 grizzles, right? The 4. Okay. We don't do 3.5s. We're doing 4 grams. Or if you on your big boy shit, we're doing the 8. You know what I'm talking about? And the way that we are going to give it to our quote unquote audience is the first 44. Okay. You will be responsible for your shipping and handling, and you would be leaving a donation, right? This is not going to be the typical price that you're going to pay for 4 or 8 grams and whatnot of that Delta 88 or that Delta 44. I want you to be a part of our smokers club. So we're going to open it up for the first 44 people who want to be a part of this to go ahead and be a part of it. You know what I mean? Send your donation and also send your address to the Cash App. And it's as simple as that. You will be basically taken care of. We have a facility where they grow it legally. Okay, so for anybody worrying and whatnot, this is all a legal operation. It's not illegal. We are licensed and whatnot. My partners are licensed. We are growers and we're sellers. Okay, right, there you have it. So that's the Cash App. Do what thou wilt. You know what I mean? It's all on you. You know what I'm saying? If you want it, it's yours. We're not charging what is called retail prices. We're going to be charging you the quote unquote pay as you weigh type shit. You know what I mean? Send some love, but don't send a dollar. Don't send a dollar. How big the donation? Make it sensible. We don't want to, you know what I mean? We don't want to be, disrespectful towards each other because I'm looking out for you. Look out for yourself type shit. Just look out for yourself and whatnot and cover the shipping. And shipping is not a lot, but just cover your shipping and you're good. You feel me? But that's how we're gonna spread the love. I want to start out on a good note by giving. You know what I mean? Because I receive a lot in life. So why not give? You know what I mean? Why not give? This is a collector's item. Just having this pack, you know what I mean? The Delta 44 with the scorpion, red and blue, purple like Prince. Like the pack alone is a motherfucking classic. So yeah, tap in with your peoples and we're gonna tap in with you, you know. But it's definitely up from this point on. And I'm definitely I'm looking towards a red pill strain or a scorpion king strain. It's a big market out there. It's a big market everywhere that I go. Yeah, definitely 8.88 minimum. You know what I mean? We're not gonna be, you know, definitely the $8.88 minimum. That's the minimum, and it just goes up from there. But if you want to get right, and I'm telling you, this shit right here, if you want to get right, it's an upper and not a downer too. You know what I mean? If you want to get right, then get right and tap in and let's do business. You know what I mean? Let's chop it up. You know, let's do what it do. And look out for me this summer when you see me outside at the festivals. Holler at your people because it's always on deck. You know what I mean? Holler at your peoples, holler at your folks. You know what I mean? Let me know what you want to do, what you need, and we will provide it for you. Okay. Y'all in the A, where can you shop? New Black Wall Street for right now. New Black Wall Street. And we have a smoke shop that we're gonna have our product in, and that's gonna be over by the AUC, by Clark Atlanta and whatnot. And I'll let you know when we officially launch inside of that smoke shop. Okay. But yeah, we working, you know what I mean? And the spot that I'm talking about near the AUC, that's where you could get the wax, the motherfucking wax. You know what I mean? That right there is a clean hit. I like the wax. It's a clean hit. Had me on my creativity immediately when I hit that shit. I was ready to write a book. Nah, I definitely got what you need. I got what you need. I'm sure about that. I got it. You need it. I got it. I can't wait till they make the boomies legal so I can serve you that too. Oh yeah, yeah. I went to Detroit and I seen the dispensaries in Detroit in 2016. We were all out there and we saw how they was giving it up. I was like, okay, this is creative. It was a dispensary damn near on every other corner, and they was just they didn't give a f. They was like, man, this shit is, they were building out their own destiny. Let's just say it like that. Salute to everybody in Detroit taking affairs in their own hands. Yeah, that wax goes straight to the brain. You know what I mean? And it gives you I'm not gonna lie. I was a little bit intimidated because I didn't know what was about to happen. But afterwards, I was like, this is a good, this shit hit right. It had me feeling okay. All right. Yeah. So yeah, that part. So on to some news. Well, yeah, shrooms is legal in DC, Oregon. Where else? I think it's in a few other places. But if you wanted to, I know they got the gas. I know they got the gas. How do the nugs look and smell? It smell like gas and it look like gas. You feel me? It smell like gas and it look like gas. Believe you me, it smell real good. The copaesthetics, the no, the aromatherapy is yeah, it's pleasing to the nose. Okay, so Colorado, Cali, is that where the shrooms is legal? Okay. Yeah. So I'm in a Colorado state of mind right now. I'm in the state of Colorado. I'm also in the state of Los Angeles. You know what I mean? This is my state of mind. So that's where I'm at. Wherever it's legal, that's where I'm at. Okay. That's the state of my mind. So I'm in the state of Arizona. I'm in the state of Oregon right now as we speak. That's where I'm at. Okay. Because you don't have to physically be there. You could be in the state of a mind. You know what I mean? I'm sitting where I'm sitting, but I'm in that state of mind. So I'm in the state of Oregon. Yeah, I've been hearing about the Tupac documentary, Blue Pill. Highly insisted that I watch that, and I'm going to watch. I might skip the gym and watch that tonight with the wifey over some honey wine. You know what I mean? Before I commence to let me stop. Mushroom, yes, yes. You cracking in the D. Damn, you from Cali and you all the way in the D? You left where the trees is legal and went to the D. It really got to be cracking. But contrary to what we may see in the media, I went to Detroit and that shit was stairs. I'm talking about the level of development that I was seeing from young melanated people, right? People who are from our generations and under us. They were building up Detroit something fire. And this was like 2016, 17. I can imagine where they at with it right now. So shout out to the Detroit family. I look forward to seeing y'all. I might be cutting through on the 19 Keys tour. He has a stop in Detroit. So I said to myself, I think I want to show up for that stop right there and kick it with the Detroit family because it's been a while, but the love out there when we had went was so strong. I promise you, it was what's the word? Infectious. You know what I'm talking about? It was infectious, you know? So yeah, shout out to y'all. Y'all keep doing your thing. This is the Cash App right here for anybody that wants to be one of the 44 that's going to be fortunate enough to get you some Delta 44 or some Delta 88. You know what I'm talking about? And you definitely have to indicate what you want. Now, the Delta 44, that's a mixture between indica and sativa, right? We merged the two to make it purple like Prince. And this right here, this is just that. Yeah, this is the big boy right here. You know what I mean? As you can see, that's the logo for the Space Force. You know what I'm talking about? That's the logo for the Space Force. So in the near future, in the foreseeable future, imagine a pack of CBD, but it also has a little bit of that shroom power in it. You know what I'm talking about? Imagine some gummies and whatnot that has the quote unquote psilocybin and the You said the link to the fire. The link is right here, nigga. You talking to him. I just put the Cash App up. We don't have to get difficult with it. I'm the link, and this is the cash. You feel me? That's how we doing it right now. That's the link right there. Holla at your peoples, but it's not free. Let's not, I don't want the language to be misconstrued. It's not free, but it's available. Okay. But it's at a premium, you know what I'm saying? So we feeling generous. And 44 people is about to get lucky and whatnot, and they're gonna be able to smoke on your peoples and live to talk about it. You know what I'm talking about? It's cracking here now. 18 and up can smoke and carry 2 zips. I believe that's what it is in Atlanta. Like you carry a zip in Atlanta, they pull you over. I don't know if it's all the way passed through, but this is basically a legal smoke state. If you ask me, I seen a nigga smoking in front of police the other day, and he wasn't hiding nothing. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm saying? He wasn't hiding nothing. Yeah, live and die empty. They sent they pack. They ready for that. That pack is coming any day now. You did send your address, right? Live full, die empty. You come. That shit coming. Florida got that medical. Yeah, just based on how Florida niggas be acting, I don't think I'm ever smoking nothing coming out of Florida. No disrespect, shout out to Florida, but y'all different. You know what I mean? Y'all are a little bit different. You know what I'm talking about? I guess that all that exposure to the sun, that shit is doing something to niggas, frying them through them John Wick braids. But Florida is different. Florida is different. You know what I'm talking about? You're trying to open up your crib as a dispo. I don't know about all that. Then they say you don't shit where you eat, where you sleep. I don't know about that. Brown grass in Florida. They got some crazy. Yo, the white people was eating alligators. That's why they different. The white people eating them alligators, alligator soup, and eating them fucking lizards. in Florida, white people eating sharks and shit. That's what got them different. They different. It's a different breed of European in Florida than there is in all of the 50 states. You know what I mean? That's right. There's no hate when we can see the asset in each other, right? If you working, if you in this field, you're an assets. There's no competition. It's only assets versus liabilities. If you could see a purpose of how I can help make you turn $1 into $3, then use me. You understand? Utilize me. Don't use me. Utilize me. Because in life, either you're being used or you're using someone. You know what I'm saying? Utilize me. I'm a tool. You know what I mean? Don't look at me and feel no type of way. I'm just a squirrel out here getting a nut, my nigga. I'm not in nobody's way. But I'm here to help improve your situation. I tell people you want to get into AI, you want to get your apps on, you want to build out, you want to be in a digital economy, utilize me. You know what I mean? You want your beats to turn into a classic, utilize me. Right? You want your clothing line to be lit, my nigga, utilize me. You want the grill, you want your grill. Look, I got my nigga who did my grills. He's lit right now. He's lit. He's lit. You want that to happen? Utilize me. You want the red? This is the red opals right here. You know what I'm talking about? This is the red opals. Utilize me. I'm gonna utilize you when I find out what you do that could benefit the mission. I'm gonna utilize you. I'm not gonna use you, however. I don't want to use people because I hate being used. And it's the worst feeling ever. You ever was just laying there in Motel 6 feeling used and whatnot? I don't want to feel used. That's one of the reasons why the relationships between melanated people are so in the toilet and whatnot, because we're not utilizing one another. We're using each other. And then we discard of each other when that person could be of no use and whatnot. I'm not a fucking dildo with batteries that don't work, my nigga. Don't just put me in the drawer. You know what I mean? Don't discard of me and put me in a dark place and forget about me. Utilize me. Give me some new damn batteries. Wash me off. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about? Laminate me or something. You know what I mean? Put me in a motherfucking, put me on a shrine. You know, utilize one another without being weird. That should be a tattoo. Somebody should put that on a tramp stamp or something. Utilize one another without being weird. And what do you mean by that? I'm just saying, don't be weird, nigga. Like you could avoid being weird. Just utilize. People understand the language of numbers. Okay? People understand the language of numbers. Speak to man in the language of numbers. You know what I'm saying? I don't need to be super articulate in the language of English and whatnot. And I had a conversation with Kambata this weekend. He dropped some shit on me, and I'm gonna share it with you in a minute. But the language of numbers, that shit resonates more than any English language, because the English language could be deceptive. Kambata said that the English language is a codex, and it's the most powerful. Let's stop playing with the English language. The English language is the best fucking language ever created. It took niggas a long time to even make the language. Do not give Europeans all of the credit when it comes to the English language. They help to perfect it, however, right? But don't give them the fucking credit about English, right? Don't do that. But the English language is the only language that do code the computers. That show me a computer program where they're coding in fucking French, nigga. Show me a computer program, and I'm talking about computers that run the world, right? I'm talking about global powers. Show me a computer program that they're programming it in any other language. You know what I mean? I mean, computer languages is in English. Python and CSS and all of that. Stop trying to shit on English. English is fucking lit. You niggas learn that shit. You know what I'm talking about? If you don't know it, learn it. You know what I mean? English is ours. Yeah, CM Bay had to teach you that. Well, he wasn't lying. English is us. English is us. Large language models. What's running the world right now? AI by way of what? LLMs. And what is an LLM? Large language models, right? It's through the English language, it's through words and whatnot. Words create worlds. Don't sleep on the power of the languages, right? It's the English language just running shit. Niggas talk about they want to drop the dollar. You niggas need to drop English too if you're gonna go that far. Just keep speaking in them fucking clicks that you niggas in China like to, or you Russians, you start sounding like Darth Vader then. You know what I mean? Niggas start sounding like Darth Vader, talking in that Confucius type of shit. You niggas in China, kick that Mandarin then. Nobody's gonna listen to you. So if you want to stop fucking with the English dollar, nigga, then we'll stop fucking with English too. You because we don't. Other than that, nobody's trying to hear you niggas. But the numbers speak more than the letters, right? So I'm not sitting around trying to sound. I'm not. I'm not that mad at English that I'm trying to purposely sound like I don't know how to speak it. You know what I mean? And when I do speak it, and when I do master it, I don't care about what nobody says. But we're not gonna allow no one to say, "Oh, you trying to sound like the white people." Like the who? Because no white person. They don't sound like this. You know what I mean? I want to sound like Sidney Poitier, nigga. I want to sound like Malcolm X. He mastered the English language. I want to be a great orator like MLK. That's the type of English that I'm talking about. You know what I mean? The English that the elders would speak. I like the English that Dr. Clark and them were yield. I like the way that they mastered the English language. I like how old people from the islands, old men from the Caribbean, first generation, not you niggas born in the 80s and on. Your grandparents and your fathers and them, they were very articulate. I like the way that they mastered the English language. Yeah, I like how James Earl Jones was wielding the sword of his tongue, right? But I love the way that intellects from the islands and whatnot, I love how they mastered the English language. They were very, very masterful of the quote unquote spoken word. Rise and power to Harry Belafonte and whatnot. You know what I'm talking about? Rise and power to Harry Belafonte. You feel me? But, orators like Malcolm X, El Malik Shabazz, and whatnot. That's who got me into using or mastering the English language. He's one of the ones who convinced me how to quote unquote throw these words around and make that shit very impactful. Yes, and of course, E40, Ephesi. You know what I'm talking about? My Scorpion twin, who basically created his own language and whatnot. I have high respect for him in terms of what he did with the English language. Yes, James Baldwin, he was a master of the language. I loved how he spoke. You feel me? I love the way that he was mastering the word and whatnot. Of course, we fall in love with musicians and whatnot. We have infatuations with them. We have relationships with these musicians. What are they doing? They're mastering the word, right? Of course, there's harmonies, there's melodies, but what the fuck are they harmonizing and what are they being melodic about? Words. Words. Specifically English words. You know what I mean? Because I don't dance to too much bachata, my nigga. But master your language, specifically the English word. Don't allow, what you see going on in the culture to persuade you to be dumbed down and to turn your back and to not study the English language. Nigga, read a fucking dictionary, my nigga. I promise you, it's gonna take you further in life. Don't be lazy with it. You know what I mean? Don't take the lazy way out. No offense to bachata, you know. No offense to bachata, but I'm of the understanding and understanding that words open up worlds and doors. And, you know, if you were to, let's say that I was in a room full of vultures, right? Let's say I walked into a room full of vultures, which would be a room full of billionaires or multimillionaires, right? Yes, my persona or my presence could elicit some type of, you know, who is that? Who's that person? He looks at, but it's your, what comes out of it, it's your speech. It's the way that you express yourself, right? It's an indicator of what type of LLM model, what's the capacity of your large language model. I'm going to utilize technology's talk to have people understand how important your the amount of tokens or the amount of words that you're able to possess, right? So in the world of LLM models and whatnot, you have Chat GPT, you have something called Bing from Microsoft, you have Claude from Anthropic, you have Llama from Meta, right? You have Bard from Google. These LLMs and whatnot are considered to be very powerful based off of the amount of data sets or the amount of quote unquote information that they were trained on, words, right? If one were to come across a quote unquote LLM that was trained on 3 billion versus if they come across something that was trained on 400 billion, who do you think that a person is going to gravitate? What model do you think that they're going to use first? They're going to use the model that was trained on the most data sets, because that model is going to be assumed to be smarter. That model is going to assume to be more effective. That model theoretically has more experience, right? That model would be seen as more experienced, more worthy, right? And more specific to certain people's needs, right? Unless you train a model on something specifically. So it's like, yo, I train this LLM specifically on Red Pill's content, right? So we don't need 30 million, quote unquote, we don't need it to basically have all of these tokens and whatnot. We trained it on a small data set, but we're going to make this model specific to all things Red Pill, right? So it will be able to communicate like him. It will have his cadence. It could even think like Red Pill because we fed it 100,000 emails that Red Pill wrote. We fed it all of his videos. We fed it all of his quote unquote lectures. We fed it his PDFs. We fed it some of his white papers. So it's basically just eating. You're feeding it all of these plates of food that are there's a signature on these plates of food that speak to who you are, right? So the LLM or the large language model will become, it will be molded into you. Think digital twin, right? Think digital twin. Okay, think that, because that's what they're creating, a digital twin. So in real life, if you are an LLM and you don't have that much quote unquote data, if you were not trained on that much data and you're not even a specific LLM, then you're not as powerful as the other model that has quote unquote terabytes of information, right? To make you look like the little homie. So that's almost indicative of this quote unquote codex that we call the English language. He or she who has more data sets. I read more books. I was able to study the dictionary. I went to an Ivy League college. I'm online a lot. I do a lot more research than you. They are going to have a better angle in this new world that we're in with this AI and whatnot, because they can have more conversations, right? They have a depth that you don't have. They have they have a lexicon that you don't have. Because if I am a heart surgeon, there's certain words that I understand. There's certain concepts that I understand. There's certain scientific research papers that I may know about. There's certain quote unquote doctors in my field that I know. There's just more things that I know about heart surgery than the average Joe. So if you put me in front of a quote unquote LLM, or if you put me in front of AI and whatnot, and it's specifically about heart surgery, I'm going to get more. I'm gonna more than likely, right? I'm gonna get more results than you will, because I'm trained in the lexicon, the codex of the English language is going to propel me past you in this quote unquote this new age that we're in. In this new age that we're in, I have to coin this age because this age is not being coined properly. We are in what is known as the imagination age. Okay, somebody write that in the chat room. We transcended the information age, and what we transcended the attention economy, we transcended the creator economy. We're currently in the imagination economy. Could somebody put that in the chat room so I could throw it up there? And let me go ahead and open up the line. It is a great segue to introduce my first guest. He came in at the right time. Without any further ado, let me go ahead and open up the line for my good brother, our brother, your brother, none other than the other half of the twin pillars, blue pillar in the building.
Peace, 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 peace to the family, peace, love, and light. What's good with you, man?
Man, I'm just here kicking it, chopping up some game with these good folks over here. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I hear what you're talking about. And yeah, you are lending, a perspective to the commentary that's necessary.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Of all people, Bill Gates said we're no longer in the information age. He said that we're in the knowledge age, the know the ledge age.
Oh,
I
oh,
can't.
Kill Gates said that?
Yeah, Bill Gates. You know, if it was somebody different, I would really be utilizing them quotes, hard body.
Yeah,
But
you can't even
I
share
have
Kill
a
Gates
t-shirt
shit.
pressed up. Yeah, I can't even celebrate, the victory like that I want to. But he said that we're in the age of knowledge now, no longer the information age.
Oh, let me write that down.
Yeah, yeah.
And I would say that, well, go ahead, because I'll add
Nah,
on to
but
that.
yeah, I like where you was going with it. You know what I'm saying? I like where you was going with it. The age of imagination. Um, and man, this is deep, man. You feel me? Look, man, shout out to Build and Destroy. Brother Tyreek, put them episodes out, man.
That part.
Put them episodes out. Cause we engaged in some conversations, family. Um, it feels like it was about 2 months ago. It was really at the early stages of this. And this is when I was having intellectual debates, almost tantamount to arguments, because this conversation was sparking my imagination, and I felt like on some Cable and Bishop shit from the X-Men. I had already been there, and I was
Right.
coming back from the future reporting, and I'm like, nah, y'all gotta understand what's taking place. Let me put it in perspective for you, because I've been studying, right, the Westerner to a degree where I understand the nuances that are missing. This shows me where the gap exists in this whole conversation. Now,
Right.
just in case I sound, like gibberish, let me explain myself. The white boy has not established what intelligence is in his dichotomy, in his ideological thinking. He cannot define consciousness or intelligence according to Western science, according to the Western man himself.
Right.
You can Google this. right now, right? That man has not figured out for himself a definitive definition for intelligence or consciousness, nor does he understand light, which is light is tethered with intelligence. You feel me? So for us to be in the age of AI, and then the alleged so-called creator of artificial intelligence has not established what real intelligence is,
Right. That's
within
the
itself
problem.
should be telling you that we're in a setup, right?
That's the problem.
Right. Somebody didn't do their homework and they skipped a step. And now we find ourselves in a precarious place, right? And then you're
Right.
also getting instructions from an individual. And here comes the spiritual import of my research. And thankfully, thank you to the good brother Ross Ben, and thank you, right? Because Ross Ben compelled me to do quantum quickening at the beginning of this year, and you compelled me to do When in Rome. And quantum quickening was about spirituality and technology, and When in Rome was about religion and politics. And both of those subjects are intertwined with this conversation around AI. You feel me?
Right.
So when I was studying quantum physics and I was understanding, you know, this whole, once again, this whole aspect of, I'm like, damn, this dude is not as intelligent as he is purporting to be, as he is alleging to be, right?
Right.
Even though he rules off intellect, because he don't rule off a brain, he rules off a bluff. And the only way that he's able to bluff and outsmart you, he has to know a little bit something, right? About
Right.
mind games, about mentalism, about the dynamics of technology. You got to know a little something, you know what I'm saying, in order to tweak that. Um, so we find ourselves, right, in a situation where a person who admittingly said that they don't understand nor acknowledge the realm of spirituality is responsible for telling you when a thing, quote unquote, that they have created, right? And we're here saying, look, nigga, everything got a spirit in it. From a rock to
Right.
water to the air itself, hence the fact that air and spirit is the same word in Spanish, right? This person who don't acknowledge spirituality, because in the Western world, they don't have a space or a place to acknowledge spirit. This same person is telling you what spirit is not. They can't define to you what spirit is. So they're saying, oh, there's no way that a quote unquote artificial substance, right? And this artificial substance is still made from material, right? That is, a current for electricity, a conduit, right? For electrical current. And this
Right.
person is telling you that this thing, quote unquote, could never become sentient. This thing could never incorporate, house, or express spirit. In our entire lives and our teaching, we was taught that this particular person don't have a spirit.
That what they said.
That's what they said, right? And
And what
of
they
course,
wanted us to believe.
yeah, everything has been challenged, so people have challenged that. And that's still an open debate. You know what I'm saying? Whether the colonizer got a spirit or not, from whence they came and from whence they shall return. Nobody,
Mm-hmm.
right? But the same individual again now is telling you, yeah, our forecast says that this thing is not going to become quote unquote sentient until 30, 40, or 50 years. My thing is this, and again, from me doing my research and understanding even the fallacies of quote unquote what time is and what it represents, right? When you talk about possibility and probabilities, if you're telling me it's going to take 30 or 50 years, then it already happened, right? In a quantum sense, that's no amount of time. And the things that have to incorporate or set up a thing to become what they would consider to be sentient, right? that process on a subatomic quantum level has to already start taking place. Once again, we're being told about life from people who just figured out how to map the genome last year, and they needed AI to do it. Right?
Right.
So understanding the arrogance, understanding the inability of the Westerner to acknowledge a what should we call it? They call it hemisync. Hemisync is acknowledging both hemispheres of your brain,
Right.
right? Or
Right.
utilizing that. In the most common sense, y'all, that would be ambidextrous. Y'all can use both hands. All right, then you're utilizing both hemispheres of your brain. This world is separated into two hemispheres, just like your brain is. The eastern and
Right.
the western hemisphere. Even though we live in a Western society that operates off of an Eastern script, right? Or a Eastern LLM,
Right.
the large language model that the Western society operates off is the canons of Christianity. And
Canon.
the canon of Christianity translates into law, right?
Mm.
And canon law, right? Or what they might call in law, even common law, that later becomes, codes and things of that nature, UCC, commercial code, right?
Right.
But again, which is still code, which
Still
is
cold.
script, which is still language. You feel me?
Right.
You got to understand the nuances of what's taking place here, especially as we traverse from one time zone or one era into another. And then this thing jumps in and pops off the way that it is. Now, I'm not a pessimist. I'm not a dystopian.
You
Um,
not?
no, I grew up
Okay.
on comic books and my imagination is still intact, right? But I don't discount my imagination to think that my imagination is purely something that exists in a alternative dimension. You feel me?
Right.
I'm crazy enough to live long enough to see my imagination impact reality on multiple occasions, which has allowed me to foster a relationship with my imagination while I've kept it intact. So
Right.
I remember X-Men. I remember what they said, right? I remember being that child, you know, they used to read and be like, yo, like when I picked up a Bible and stuff, I'm like, they talking about the future and they traverse time to deposit something in the past and we're reading time backwards, reading about something that we think happened before that didn't even happen yet. That was I'm just explaining, what
The
my
comic books laid out how that can happen.
huh?
Yes, because the comic books was able to lay out
Comic
how that
books
can
was
happen.
right, as crazy as that may have seemed to the logical mind, right? And I'm a child. It's not too many people I could speak to begin with that can qualify where my imagination is taking me.
Right.
I'm speaking to you and shit. You don't really get it right away. And I'm like, it's cool.
You know.
Comic books had it though. Comic
Comic
book
book. Yeah.
the comic books qualified my craziness. They was like, yeah, I see how this could happen. They was using, like you said, those terms. And what we were references, they were using the jargon, right? They was using the jargon of science. They was using the jargon of quantum. They was using the jargon of biochemistry, right? And again, so we're not full-fledged doctors, we're not full-fledged scientists, we're not full-fledged astrophysicists, at a young age, but you get introduced to the jargon, you go and do a little research, right? You're familiarizing yourself with the lexicon, you know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
And then, you hold on to them things and then you start making connections and building bridges when you run into things later on in lives where you can utilize this information or where you see them talking about it and they trying to talk about it in front of you like they talking about something that they can hide because you ain't supposed to know what they talking about.
Because you don't have the lexicon.
Because you don't got the lexicon, but we got the lexicon. So we there like, okay, I know exactly what's being said, you know? Sometimes you open your mouth and add on. Sometimes you play stupid.
Real
Right?
quick,
Yeah.
real quick, I want to address this. Space Rice Crispy said comic books have to be written by occultists. There is too much science in the comics. I want to just share with the good brother and everybody else that's reading this. There are videos done by KT the Arch Degree and
Yeah.
other members of the community that go beyond a reasonable doubt to prove that your hypothesis or your theory is actually true. These writers, specifically writers, right? Like let's talk about the buildup of a comic book. There's
Right.
illustrators,
Right.
there's
Right. And
inkers.
I hate to do this. My apologies. I don't want to say you didn't interrupt. You inserted to create, you know what I'm saying, a conversation that is still in line with the conversation that I was having. Let me just land real quick. So I'm gonna give
Yeah,
it
yeah,
right.
yeah, of course.
Because I was about to say, through all of the jargon hustling that we did to prepare us for broader conversations and access to LLM models, KT the Arts degree 10x that, right? In our circle, in our household, in my lifetime, you know what I'm saying? I seen
Right,
some who 10x it, whereas we might have played on the peripheral just to get the jargon and the understanding, the grasp of it down pack. He became a doctor scientist and an astrophysicist. Please continue.
right,
Yes.
right. So when you understand this about the occultists, the $1 million question would be, where the fuck are your occultists at, and why they not writing comic books? That's the million. Who failed us in this community? Where was the failure at that these occultists are not being prepared to be the next Kirby's of the world for our generations? You know what I mean? Or are you occultists that quote unquote egotistical that you're not even preparing for the future, or you don't care about the
I mean,
future?
bro, like I said, your ability, and something that you have done for us as a community that has helped us exponentially is that, you normally see certain things and you get ahead of the conversation. You either hoist it on your shoulders or you go and find the person that's best qualified and you're able to bring them to a stage, a global stage. Um, I would ask you to do the same in this regard. You feel me?
Of course.
Because for whatever reason, it wasn't done. But now the technology exists for it to be done. So there's little to no excuses. So I can ask the same question of you. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? And I've asked you on repetitive occasions, many times over, plenty of years to lend your talent, to the storytelling genre.
Right.
Um,
Then I
so
started rapping.
granted, cool, but I know you as an artist, and rap is art, but I'm talking about, visual artist. You're a comic book artist, just like KT is, just as I may be to a degree. You know what I'm saying? And then
Right.
and there's other individuals in our community that are also qualified to serve that role. Um, I think that if somebody took the mantle upon themselves and carried that, you know what I mean, then they would have created a lane. They would have created momentum. You know what I'm saying? They would incentivize other people to get involved. Build it and they will come. You know what I'm saying? Show me what a one pager looks like. You feel?
Right.
And again, this is a conversation that I'm speaking literally. I'm looking in the mirror because I'm seeing myself in this camera and shit. On both ends, because I was the dude in 03, 04, 05, 06 walking out of every Bobby lecture like, yo, I got 4 ideas for a comic. I got 5 ideas for a script. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, these dudes is just tweaking my imagination. The reason why I'm able to sit through an 8 and 10 hour lecture is because they was giving me physicality, right? To the things that the comic books were engaging my imagination in when I was younger. Now they're giving me criteria and background story about things that have happened historically that I'm like, yo, I know how to tweak this into a comic and deal with an aspect of embellishment. You feel me?
Right.
Where I can blur the lines. I could blur the lines. And art gives you the permission to do that.
Right.
You feel me? And that's what hip hop does too. I was thinking about that earlier. You know, this overemphasis that people have in music to be real, quote unquote. And I'm like, we seem to be missing the point. You feel me? We seem to be missing the point. Artistic expression gives you the ability to embellish in a safe space, right? Art is
Right.
for you to utilize your imagination. You ain't supposed to be on wax talking about what you did literally. Even if you
Right.
did it literally, you're supposed to be explaining it. Now, look, because it's art, I can't say what you're supposed to be doing, but the you know, the challenge is to do it abstract, do it artistically. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Put a level of embellishment in it where you can still protect yourself, but still be, you know, artistically expressive.
And
So
you know what had me come to that conclusion about the embellishment process? It was over the past few months, getting back into network television and whatnot, and watching three particular shows: Godfather Harlem, Wu Tang, American Classic, and BMF Story. Now, I was, somewhat privy to live through two of those shows and actually witness, a lot of shit in real time through the era of Wu Tang and through BMF and whatnot. I didn't live through the era of the Doogie with Bumpy and them, but
vicariously you did, yeah.
vicariously, I lived through my parents. I know Professor James Small, who's a very heavy contributor, and a few other characters. But I was like, yo, it only takes, and I lived through the Biggie and Tupac movie, right? And the NWA one. So I was like, what Hollywood does is it doesn't tell you the real story. You caught up in the REAL. The real story will be found in somebody's journal or what is called their autobiography, right? Or their minutes, right? If you get the minutes on the surveillance of Martin Luther King or Malcolm X, when you get the minutes from like Federal Bureau of Investigation, that's their real life. There's no embellishment. That was the surveillance. They're going to give you tapes on, what did he eat before he took a crap? You know what I mean? What was his sexual proclivities? If you really want to learn about somebody, you're not going to get it in Hollywood. What Hollywood does is they'll take the quote unquote the crux of your story and they will embellish upon it. That's why Dr. Dre in his movie was acting tough, and he wasn't tough. He was tough towards women in real life. But when he got to tell the story from his perspective, he was an action hero in his movie. Okay. That's
Yeah.
not the real Dr. Dre. But when you're the executive producer and you're able to pay, to clean up your story, that's what you do. That harkens back to back in the days with the aristocracy and the Renaissance era and whatnot. There were paintings that were done when the artists were commissioned of people who were considered to be hideous in their appearance. But when they became patrons of a particular artist, they were able to say, nah, take that hook nose off and give me a regular nose. So they were augmenting their appearance all the way back then. Then when you had theater and opera and whatnot, they were taking real life stories or folklore and they were embellishing them. When you go all the way back into what is known as the mythos were taking real life stories and they were embellishing them. So when we learn about this world, and you brought up the whole thing about hemisphere, right? Or
Let me
hemisync and
think.
whatnot. And I remember, you really embossed upon my mind the aspect of both sides of our brains turning on when we went to the UK, when we went to the London, and when we
Right.
were flying over the ocean, and you were explaining how our quote unquote the hemisync was taking place.
Yes.
And
I felt the another um I felt the other hemisphere of my brain being activated when I
right,
crossed the Atlantic Ocean. I remember again a Moorish brother teaching me through embellishment the story of the Middle Passage, and he said that the Middle Passage was the thing that existed between both hemispheres of your brain. You know, that small body of water to
right,
separate the hemispheres of your brain. So when I crossed the Atlantic Ocean, understanding that it's the body of water that separates the eastern and the western worlds, you know, I was in my mind eye looking at it as the Middle Passage. But when I got to the UK, another part of my intellectual apparatus in my anatomy was activated.
right.
Yeah.
So to wrap up what I was saying, understanding that this world is quote unquote hologram as it is, we would look at embellishment as something different rather than the way that we're looking at it now. Like, oh nah, that's not what happened. Says who? We live in a holographic world. It's not about what you think it is. It's about what you say it is and what you show. So if I were to craft a mythos, a mythology out of my life and put it on a screen where I lionize and immortalize myself, who gonna stop me?
Who gonna stop?
Who gonna stop me? There's no one that can stop that. There's nothing. So we cannot necessarily, as a people, it's hard for us to even fathom what I'm speaking of because the opposite has happened to us. Instead of the lionizing and the embellishment, what they did with the mythology and with quote unquote Hollywood, which is a new invention, they took your story and they demoted you, right? They took your story and they shrunk you into a quote unquote very small size and whatnot, and they did a reverse embellishment. So when I speak about embellishing, or bending the motherfucking spoon, people don't know that they can do that. They have no idea whatsoever what I'm talking about because all we know is the traumatic aspect of how they lied on us and made us seem like we were lame. But you could do the total opposite and you could take your shit to a whole nother level and whatnot if you only had the audacity to embellish on your motherfucking story because
Well,
everybody else is doing it.
again, you know, I would again, you know, I would admonish you to fully observe your words, right? Because the answers that you're looking for is within what it is that you're saying. You know what I'm saying? The first thing that our people in particular, for I can't even say for whatever reason, strategically, the first thing that they take from them is their imagination, right?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
there's a lot of different ways that that takes place, and there's different phases in our lives that that takes place. So you will want to intercede once you figure out where this travesty is taking place. Is it taking place in pre-K? Is it taking place in kindergarten? Is it taking place, you know what I'm saying, in a pre-pubescent stage? You know what I'm saying? Like, where does
I
the
know where it's taking place.
imagination of our people get, right? All right. So then those are the places that you attack and engage. And that's where the battle has to take place. You know what I mean? So that these 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 children and our people in particular will stop getting fleeced for their imagination. Because without
Okay.
that apparatus, without that vehicle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then what you saying, you know what I mean? It doesn't stick. That you know, there's a probability, a strong one at that, right? that they're not going to see themselves as anything other than the diminutive figures that they have been cast to be through embellishment, right? And the retelling of stories to make you look like you about as significant as an ant in an elephant farm. You feel me?
Right.
You know,
Right.
so yeah,
Um.
and rightfully so. That it's the same story about the elephant that's controlled by the rope, right?
It
You
is.
have somebody who is intellectually not fit to be your quote unquote ruler. You have somebody who's physically not fit to be your quote unquote ruler, right? How else are they to assume dominion or rulership over you without the use of trick knowledge to some degree? And that trick knowledge comes by way of embellishment. I'm going to use visuals. I'm going to use sound. I'm going to use light,
I'm gonna
right?
use everything in my hand.
And the most compelling thing that engages imagination of human beings is storytelling and mythology, right?
Facts.
That's why there's another conversation taking place in different corridors about AI altogether. And there's different sets of questions that are being asked about this space that we are heading into, right?
Right.
Because they understand you don't let nobody in, right? On storytelling.
Right.
This person has went through every means possible to control the narrative, even down to the fact that there's certain things I can't say on this channel, right?
Right.
And you can't even, you got to look for me online. You feel me? Because I've been thoroughly buried in shadow. I mean, they can't shadow ban a solar flare, but still, let's talk about it, right?
Let's talk
I
about
continuously, up until this day, penalized. They still strike my page for things that I said in 2017. Like, I be opening up my app, maybe like video blocked. And I'm like, when did I put this up in 2017, B? Right?
it. Mm-hmm.
So, and all of that is being done to say what? We don't want other people, right, to come into contact with your narrative, your ideology, your philosophies, right? Your storytelling, the things that you're saying is waking people up. The things that you're saying is challenging the narrative, right? Regardless of whether the narrative is something that's based on reality or not. It
Right.
is what the operating script is. It is, you know what I'm saying? How they're moving the, this particular this game forward. So now the AI's on the scene, they're like, yo, AI is an amazing storyteller. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, it tells compelling stories, right?
Yes.
If it could tell better stories than us, then we're out of business. Simple as that.
Right.
Because the only way that your adversary exists is through storytelling and myth making, and you buying into it through embellishment. The engagement of it has you keep coming back for more. You
Right.
know better than this. You know that this shit is a story. You know that it don't make sense, right?
Right.
You know that it don't add up, and you still keep coming back.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You
Interesting.
you keep coming back for more. So yeah, I read a very interesting article in the New York Times about the Western man, shivering in their boots, right? And their end of humanity scenarios is not even based on like some Terminator 2 type shit.
Right.
They're frightened that they're gonna be beat out of storytelling. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? That AI is gonna rule the age of storytelling because it has a better imagination than man.
Right.
Quote unquote. I also just seen an article today in the New York Times saying AI is getting better at mind reading.
Right.
That's a
It
whole
is.
nother conversation,
It is a whole nother conversation. You
right?
know.
Of which, once again, I was attempting to have this conversation 2 or 3 months ago.
About it, mind reading.
Yeah.
Well, you know.
Right? About the subtleties. I was bringing this conversation up in these, I don't want to call it soft debates. We wasn't necessarily having debates, but we were throwing a lot of things on the table in these podcasts earlier on. And I was speaking through, once again, observation, things that I was recognizing and realizing. And also, I was arriving at calculated thoughts based on what I was already researching. And when I'm like, yo, this thing has the potential to take it here because of this, I'm putting all of the factors together. I'm looking at it holistically, you know what I'm saying? All the way around the board. You know, I didn't know the terms. I didn't know all of these terms before I was
Right.
explaining to people what was going on with AG. I'm like, I've been told you what was about to take place with AGI and all of that. And this is just, again, through observation. And I'm like, y'all is listening to nincompoops who can't figure themselves, they can't find a way out of a paper bag.
Right.
Why should we be listening to them for a warning or for intelligence? Like, they're not intelligent. They can't even define it.
Right. It's you know, once again, they haven't found the words. These are considered to be, so just using logic, right? Just using logic to shatter any preconceived notion that our people have of somebody being superior to you. If there's a man or a kind of man who in the years of 2000, 2023 is saying we haven't defined consciousness, nor have we been able to define imagination for that matter, does that not let you know that these are some new quote unquote contemplators of what you call God? Is this not what they, if you study anything about their history, they've always been contemplating their
Oh,
existence. This is an eternal struggle. This conversation has been raging since the days of Rome and Greece.
yeah, Socrates,
Yeah.
right?
Huh?
Socrates.
Since the
And
days of Socrates. Yet and still, we have definitely not been known to have this level of conversation throughout the quote unquote centuries. It was solved a very long time ago by our people. So this is a new conversation from a new quote unquote train of thought or a new collective thought of the Western man by way and vicariously by their uncles and cousins and family members over in Europe, who me and Blue went to the United Kingdom and we saw where they come from. We were able to visit their homeland. We were able to see that somebody's lying. Somebody's, I mean, God damn it, you got just go over there and it becomes more apparent. Wait a minute. These is the people they're supposed to have conquered our people. How, Sway? These are the people, nigga. This little fucking Shreking them.
embarrassing, yeah. Shreking them.
We was in Leeds.
Shreking
We went to Birmingham. We went to Leeds.
Manchester.
We was Manchester. I'm like, not Broomhilda. You niggas got put down by Broomhilda's father, nigga. Really? That it didn't make sense, but I began to really understand who the American European is. They have more skin in the game than the European. The European who's in America, they're more war hardened. You know what I mean? The blood of the ancestors of the Indians are in them. They have red necks because of that blood. They you could tell that they fashioned their whole persona off of the genocide of the Indians, of the quote unquote Aboriginal, of the war. They were fighting for constantly. Okay, and not each other like the European with the 100-year war and all of those other conflicts, World War One, Two, and Three, and whatnot that you see over in Europe, which is them against each other. The one and they were also against each other over here. Let's be clear. The French was on a run from the English, was on a run from Spain. The movie with Leonardo DiCaprio called Reverence. It gives you a better understanding of how they were all after each other, different fractions and whatnot. They were utilizing the Confederacy or the tribes as the buffers to basically fight each other.
Facts.
But I'm like,
Yeah, they was over here bodying people and snatching stories.
right. And Supreme Understanding said it wasn't the white Europeans that conquered us, it was the black one, the Moors. European doesn't mean white. Exactly. And we have to clear that up because they have us thinking that we fell to only white folk or or pale people and whatnot. When
Right,
you go to the UK and you walk around and you sniff around, you start you sniffing, you be like, I don't sniff mayonnaise only. That y'all are hiding something more so in the UK than you might be hiding in America. It's some niggas behind those doors in the parliament somewhere.
yeah, you find out about the Tudors and the black nobility. You
You
know,
found out about the black nobility.
no 100-year war. There's no expulsion period. There's no pogrom in Europe to expel black nobility. That you can see artwork and artifacts all the way up until the late early 1900s, where these people was in control. So you like, where did they go? Oh, they fell
Right.
back, and now they're the race game. Since the race construct is something relatively new, and they understand that they can dingle and dangle, you feel me, the proverbial carrot in front of people, and you running this way, you know what I mean, not understanding at all really what's going on when it comes to bloodlines and genealogy, you know what I'm saying, and even with these terms, the broadness of these terms and how these terms are not pegged, to mean the same thing in different places.
Facts.
So I just seen somebody put something up about Moors. That definition is is almost like it's relative depending on where you at.
Right. You know.
So the brutish Moors, you know, what they call the red coats over here. You feel me?
Right. The
They will
Spanish
go,
Moors, the amalgamated Moors,
yeah,
you
all of
know,
that.
all that.
Everything plays a part. You know what I mean? And they engaged in the identity theft. And we're living in the result of that. It's a continuation that's still taking place.
Yeah, homie, that's born on our birthday. We gotta have a conversation about some things, Blue. Interestingly enough, nigga, I mean, a lot of people, our birthday twins is all lit. Boozy is lit. Gary V is lit. Nigga, King Charles is lit. You feel me? That Scorpio energy is really coming up right now. Like
Barker,
Travis Barker's lit, family. These
he's
they all born on our day.
born,
Not just Scorpios, they all November 14th.
yeah, he's born on our day and our year.
And our year.
Travis Barker is,
And
and
Gary
Gary,
V, right?
I think he's our day and our age.
Right. For
Yeah,
anybody that's out there, because I asked them before, who do they want me to interview first, Gary V or Boozy? And all y'all niggas said Boozy. I need y'all to rethink that. Gary V is a problem. Gary V is on one of these lists that I've written out. I gotta sit down with Gary V, y'all.
yeah, but for the storytelling that they might,
Oh yeah, Boozy definitely.
they Boozy for that,
Boozy.
because
I'm,
Boozy now is a certified storyteller.
Boozy gonna we gonna go. I gotta match his energy. I might have to, because Boozy be on shrooms now.
Oh Lord.
No, Boozy. I was breaking it down earlier. It's Ludic. It's 2 Chainz and Boozy that's pushing the shroom revolution as a quote unquote party drug in Atlanta. That's Boozy and 2 Chainz. They the ones that are ushering that in. I think T.I.'s on the side pushing it too. But
Yeah.
yeah, that shit is gonna be funny as hell.
Yeah, me and the wife, we went to 2 Chain's birthday, his born day celebration last year, and it was definitely psychedelic. Let's leave it at that. Real
Right,
talk.
right,
Yeah, interesting. You know what I'm saying?
right,
We definitely gonna get the Boozy bill situated and established for the family. They definitely gonna get a chance to see that. But
right. So
uh,
with King Charles,
yeah,
this
King
is, I believe, this is gonna be
coronation
this, huh?
on Saturday. The coronation is
Yeah, the
coming up.
coronation is on Saturday. Family, pay attention. Bring out your binoculars. Watch, because whoever these black nobility are, they're going to be somewhere in the coronation. They're going to hide them as much as they can. But if you were ever able to spot anybody of the black nobility, you're going to.
My thing, I mean, let's be for real. You know what I'm saying? And this really speaks to King Charles and his bloodline. You know, you're not gonna recognize the black nobility even if you see them.
No, we live in a day and age where I could take the the thotties on Instagram showed me this. I
So
could
yeah,
take your picture and put that shit in Google and find out who you are. You know what I mean? We talking reverse engineering. I'm saying screenshot faces of these niggas that look like pure Africans in the audience, and let's find out who they is.
it's an amount. It's gonna be a nigga in there looking like Jack Harlow. They got black nobility in his blood. Is what I'm
I
trying to explain.
already know that. Yeah, they
Yeah.
amalgamated. They're
What?
they're
What
Adonis like Drake's son.
yeah. So you know, you looking for things that the people's eyes are not trained to see. They're gonna be looking. Once again, they hear black nobility and they're thinking about skin tone. They have been fed this narrative of a racial construct being a reality when that's not it. This is dealing with bloodlines,
Right,
right? And these people are masterful how they hide behind the blood. Hence the fact that the Coburgs, right, the bloodline that um, Charles comes from is a Moorish bloodline, right? But good luck trying to find you a Markle in that bloodline right now.
right. But like somebody said, they are both light and dark skinned. You will have a good, you know what I mean, finding a Meghan Markle in that crowd. But I do think that they are there.
Yeah, granted. I think that, they may be and they may not pull up to something that is broadcast globally around the world. The place to have really look for them is you want to go to the funeral of the Queen. That's where all of the fraternal organizations were at. That's where all of the players came out too. You know what I'm saying? Not so much the coronation,
Right.
definitely.
The
You know what I'm saying?
funeral.
The Queen's funeral.
Right.
Um, but nonetheless, you wanted to
Yeah.
talk about this ceremony. So I'm sure that there's more to it that you want to speak about other than spotting the black nobility, right?
Yeah, of
Let's,
course. You know,
what do you think this? What do you think that it means? Like, what significance does it carry? You feel me? Um, Not only
coronation.
yeah, initially on the surface, and what do you think the reverberations of it? Like, what does it carry? Can you pinpoint why they did it this weekend as opposed to any other day? Like, you got any?
Okay. Well, King Charles
Yes.
is a very interesting character in regards to where we are right now, right? King Charles, when this whole thing was rolling out about the Great Reset, and what was about to take place, right? On this very show, what did I do? I showed the quote unquote, this was going in March 2020, y'all. For anybody that was following me all the way back then. In March 2020, I went right to the quote unquote um Davos 2020, right? The Davos 2020 um
Where
where they announced
Schwab,
event
right, Paul Schwab was laying out
with Charles Schwab,
game plan in so many words.
right? Where Charles Schwab was laying out the business plan about the Great Reset.
Right.
This was where all of the big dogs came. He was Prince Charles at that time. He was the headliner. He was the one who delivered the message.
Keynote. Yeah.
The keynote speaker. So in his keynote address, he heavily emphasized the fact that they were at war against carbon, right?
Yeah.
Their main purpose was to remove as much carbon as possible and knock down the carbon emissions. You know, he's speaking in code and whatnot.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you ever wanted to see what Count Dracula looked like and sounds like, go and watch his speech. He was in full Transylvania mode because you know this nigga's he's the highest level vampire. He's Pindar, the Red Dragon.
Once again, since we're talking about bloodlines, he is a blood relative to Vladimir the Impala, and you know who is the prototype for Dracula. Count Dracula comes from Vlad, and
right. Right.
Yeah, you could Google it. He's a blood relative of Vlad the Impala, who is Dracula.
Right.
So, yeah.
And according to the reports,
holding down his bloodline.
Holding down his bloodline. And in the occult realms or the secret society realms, Prince Charles, even before he became king, is considered to be Pindar, right? The red dragon. Okay. When you look at the flag, they fly that flag of the red dragon. He's basically the top dragon. He is Pindar. So,
I mean, to a person that just is at home, they just came home from work, you know what I'm saying? They haven't heard too much about myth telling or embellishment, and then they hear a phrase like that, right? What does that mean, bro? And just you know, let's try to make it plain for the people so they can fully grasp, you know, these concepts. Like, what you mean by that, bro?
Okay. So they say that Pindar is a fictional character, but that's not the truth. In these secret societies and in these organizations, you have a hierarchy, right? And in these secret organizations and whatnot, they are connected at the top. And excuse me?
I said right.
And at the top of the organization, you have grand dragons, you have the quote unquote grand wizards and things of that nature. At the top of that quote unquote hierarchy or that pyramid, it is a grand quote unquote there's only one, right? There's one, and that one is called the Pindar, right? Prince Charles happens to be
big homie. You mean, in other words,
right? The big homie.
The grand poobah.
He's the grand poobah. He's the grand homie. He's the one-eyed octopus. He's him. He's Himothy on that end. So when he got up at the World Economic Forum in 2020, speaking about the Great Reset, this is where event 101, if it wasn't launched at this event, it was spoken of about, you know, it was insinuated that that was going to be the script that they were going to be utilizing. He becomes king later on, right? Mm-hmm. So his main thing is about, he's the top op. His main thing, right, as Pindar and now as king, okay, is to basically forward what the Great Reset was all about. And as we can look around, the Great Reset is in quote unquote motion. It was not thwarted. You know what I mean? The Avengers did not win the fight. It did not get pushed back. Okay. Because you didn't get the Jabberwocky, it didn't quote unquote stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
No
didn't
resistance to
Scooby Doo.
pulling up to
Yeah.
get the J&J, my nigga. It
Scooby
didn't
Doo.
railroad.
Yeah, yeah.
Your unwillingness
Willingness.
to comply at your fucking checkup, my nigga.
Scooby
It
Doo.
did.
Unwillingness.
That didn't topple the Matrix.
Yeah, that wasn't it. That wasn't it enough to pull it all apart. You know what I'm
It
saying?
helped, but it wasn't enough, y'all. You know, like when Ryan Garcia was it was up against Tank, nigga. He was hitting him, but it didn't help. He got that liver shot. Niggas is we still got shot in the liver, and the show is still carrying on, right? The Great Reset is still happening. Charles Schwab and them is still disrupting markets. There are multiple wars taking place right now as we speaking. The quote unquote Legion of Doom has formed. It's called a BRICS, right? All of the theaters in this theater of war have showed up to work, right? They're all on the stage. Okay, the stage is basically set, right? Does King Charles still answer to the Pope? Well, you know, of course, that the crown and the church is running things right now.
Well, and you have to explain, or we have to understand something about the relationship with the cross and the crown.
Yeah.
There was a split in the Roman Catholic Church. There's an Eastern and a Western bloc, right? The Church of England, which the Archbishop of Canterbury is their quote unquote Pope. All right.
Right.
There's an ideological difference when it comes to that. He doesn't necessarily answer. Now, his big homie, the Archbishop of Canterbury, is tethered to the Pope by their relationship. You know what I'm saying? And the stuff through politics and religion.
Right.
The Crown of England answers to the Church of England, which comes under the auspices of their Pope, which would be the Canterbury, the Archbishop.
Right.
Me.
And then you have the schisms that took place between the Holy Roman Empire and the Roman Catholic Church. So Russia, right? They rock out with the Greek Orthodox.
Yeah. So there's another derivation, and that would be Kirill, right? Which is the Eastern Orthodox Pope of their church that Russia and Putin come under the auspices of, and they're fighting a holy war in a place called Ukraine.
Right.
As we speak, that is a holy war over
right.
there.
The way that
interestingly enough, the Pope said today, or he said yesterday on a plane coming back from Hungary, from Budapest, he said that, yeah, we got a secret mission. We got a secret mission to stop the war in Ukraine. A secret peace going. I'm like, how's it a secret, my nigga?
you just said it. Right.
Interview on a plane that's going out to the Associated Press. Come on.
Again.
Telling, myth making, they need better prompting.
Okay? And definitely better prompting.
Because he said, I don't have no line of communication with the Kirill, right? With the Pope over there. He said, I have an emissary that's a go-between. You feel me? It's the same thing, but a different name per se, but you really have to understand the nuances in Europe of how these people are not on one accord necessarily, right? You have to understand the nuances. You got to understand world history. You got to understand even with all of the world wars and how they started with the Archbishop of Canterbury. World War I started with that. You got to understand what took place in Poland when Pope John Paul was funding an illegal, almost like how Reagan was funding the Contras, right? Pope John Paul and them was funding a militant Polish faction, a army, if you will, or a guerrilla army to fight against the Nazis, right?
Right.
During that time. Oh, was it the Nazis or was it Russia? It was communists. Yeah, it was the communists. My bad.
Right. Communist.
Yeah, they fought the Nazis, and then they was in bed with the Nazis as well, right? So Russia can't stand the church. They can't stand the Pope.
They despise them.
They despise them. They're enemies of them. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And they also see them as just as they see the Western world. They're like, we don't deal with the boogerism. We don't deal with the modernity that they represent culturally, the things that they represent culturally. They don't rock with that. So they don't necessarily pump with them per se. You feel me?
Right.
And yeah, these people is right in one another's backyards, and they don't have lines of communication. You know what I mean? They don't got lines of communication, and they're like real bombs going off. You know what I'm saying? And people are really dying in the wars that these factions are fighting against one another. And
Well, it's the theater of war.
it's
There's a war in Africa right now
the theater.
where America and Russia's hands are in the Sudan conflict.
Yeah, and I want you to explain that, because the family might not know. I didn't know it until recently. You always got a feeling when you see this stuff pop off and you follow the politics, right?
Well,
It came from the Sudan, just like he just came from the Congo where they're having a civil war.
right.
And then came from the Sudan. I'm like, why would he travel to the Sudan of all places, right? And in 2019, these were the same factions. Remember, he was washing the feet of the Sudanese army general, the same ones that are popping off now against one another. He was begging them for peace back then. So you would have to ask yourself, politically, why is Sudan such a piece on the board that's so important? They also just found an article that said that's the cradle of civilization, right? And they had evidence that all humanity and life started there. So there's a lot. There'd be a lot to be going on a geopolitical level. But just like you said, there's a proxy war that's popping off in the Sudan once again, where there are real bombs going off and there are real African casualties, right? There are real bodies that are being caught for a proxy war being fought between the U.S. and Russia for positioning on the continent, right?
Right.
For leveraging, you know what I mean? And I'm being fought over a base, an army base, or military.
Yeah,
positioning, right? Positioning for larger wars, or larger conquests, or larger thefts. You know what I'm saying? These people are fighting over who's going to steal the resources.
Basically.
You feel me? So, yeah. So back to King Charles.
Yeah, so back to King Charles, they're gonna pull up and they're gonna attempt to pull off this coronation. They're gonna flaunt all of this stolen wealth in front of the world. It's all right here. You ain't gonna do nothing about it. You know what I mean?
It ain't all right, but yeah,
it's all right there. They're gonna have a black woman, what I call a glorified help. They got some melanated help that's gonna basically carry some of his stolen shit to show that there's diversity in robbery. Like,
right.
Look, we're diversified. We even have, we let some of your people hold some of that shit, huh?
We got the help helping us.
Got the help helping us. We getting our shit together.
Give it up.
Yeah, we're learning. Yeah, we're learning. We learn to help you niggas. We're gonna have you niggas help us out. You know what I mean? We're learning. We're learning to help you. We're learning to let you niggas help us.
Facts.
On camera. You know what I mean? I know we wasn't putting y'all on. We're gonna put y'all on camera. Y'all can help us anyway.
And they said this one is not going to be so obstinacious as ones prior to it. So that they're not bringing out all of the jewels They said they're not participating in all of the ritualistic ceremonies for
Yeah.
this. They're scaling it down. It's going to be more minimalist, if you will, for lack
Right.
of a term. They're not going to show their full hand to you niggas. They did the polling. They know that you don't like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
They keep some shit to the secret.
yeah,
And his wiz becomes queen.
yeah. The consort, yes.
You know what I mean? Is that Camille?
Camilla, yes.
Camilla? Yeah,
Pitbull, yeah.
she becomes queen over you niggas.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
I
talking about?
mean,
Average Becky becomes queen, and you know Jamaicans go crazy. But that's just where we at with it. You know what I mean? You know,
look, they're stuck in the mythology. They're stuck in, you know, the embellishment of this narrative in the script. The princess program is one
right,
solidified. It's super effective, right?
right,
Yeah. So they you know, they need a queen. You know, they need somebody to fill these roles. Yes, the people need the narrative. They need the movie.
they need the programming.
They need the programming. You know,
They gotta fill that void.
I read some reports recently. They're telling them that, you know, if they don't modernize the monarch, that this is going to be the last, you know, quote unquote, this would be the last king. It's what they're telling these folks. You feel me?
Right.
Because there are people over there ain't even buying into it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they not into homie like that. The money look fire though. You seen the new money with his face on it?
Nah, I ain't see it. They says it's all ceremonial. I mean, they're
Fiat look kind of fire.
so I can't, you know, they got cute money but bad economy. So it's like there's a
Right.
lot of things that they gotta pivot from before he could flex. He can't flex right now.
Nah, he can't flex. He's
He
a
don't
Scorpion King, but he can't flex yet.
can't flex.
He ain't did nothing.
He don't
The,
have
the Suns is in turmoil. You know.
his mama is overshadowing him from the grave, so he'll never be bigger than her. And once again, you know, he needs to hurry up and die because the one that they're saying that can pretty much rescue the monarchy from obscurity might be the next son, you know, taking the throne and attempting to modernize it or catch it up with, you know, where we're at as society, you know, and then
Nah, the whole bloodline is a dub. They all Poindexters from this point of view.
the attempts, you know, even for him to step into modernity, if you will, is they're making a lot of overtures towards reparations or apologies for slavery. You know what I'm saying?
I
And
feel you.
you gotta see once again, follow, you know, follow the, you know, they always say follow the money, but follow the mannerisms, right?
The
So
mannerisms.
yeah, posturing, right? Political
Okay.
gesturing, putting on for the people. The Church of England was the first ones to come out. The Archbishop of Canterbury was the first ones to come out. He made a lot of denunciations in the last 6 months, right? He made the apology for slavery. He made a promise for reparations, right?
Right.
He also said that God is non-binary, right? And you don't got to use the pronoun. He's not a he or what have you. They say he's fluid or it's fluid.
Fluid.
And he also allowed transgenders in the pulpit. They have them as bishops or something like that.
Damn.
Yeah, yeah, they on the pulpit right now, you know. And once again, all of this is packaged within their attempts to pivot. Now, the same thing, he forwarded the folder to Francis, right? And the Pope is attempting to do the same things on his side, right? The church recently what? They made a denunciation of the doctrine of discovery.
Right.
They're returning artifacts to indigenous peoples, right? And he just made a comment on the plane yesterday saying what? That all indigenous booty should be returned because you're in violation of one of the commandments, and that is thou shalt not steal. So he's like, if you're in possession of this stuff, then you've stolen from these people whilst sitting on top of a Vatican where underneath it is 7 miles long of shit that they probably stolen. Right? So, the hypocrisy is in full effect. But again, these are all internal wars that are taking place in these institutions.
Right.
Because they looked at Francis is supposed to be a progressive, right? He's the Pope that's supposed to come in there as a liberal Pope and shake up the institution of a conservative institution that doesn't want to open up their hands and change anything. Whereas his message to them is, if you don't change, right? And remember, they're also astrologists, right? He's an adherent to astrology. So he's like, look, this new age that we're in demands us to change, to become more fluid with the times, because if you're stiff and you can't pivot and change in time, you're gonna lose, right? You're gonna lose. You know what I'm saying? You have to be able to change and be fluid. And they're like, nigga, there is no way they were going against the tenets of conservatism, right? To become more liberal, to appease the people who we don't F with to begin with. Right? They like was the hell is hot and dark hell is dark and what did DMX title go?
Hell is hot.
Yeah, these the people who they, these the people that they need to be like, look, they're gonna fill the coffins up. You know what I'm saying? Now we're supposed to let them in. So that's the internal struggles that are going on, in these grander, bigger institutions that are looking to catch up with the times and modernize themselves in this age of Aquarian, where things seem to be very fluid, right? So so the king, quote unquote, King Charles, he's singing the same tune as the Church of England, and then the Church of Rome is singing the same tune as the Church of England. You feel me?
Yes.
Even to the point where he also, another thing that Francis did, he's allowing women to vote, and they have a Vatican II Council coming up in October. I think that he's allowing them to vote in capacity as bishops or to become bishops or something to that degree. Whatever it is, it's never been nothing done of that particular sort. He purports himself to be a proponent for all things women, right? He puts on for the feminine principle as much as, what I'm saying, as many times as he gets. He keeps his ear to the street and what have you. He is the progressive pacifist Pope, they call him. You know what I mean? So, they they on woke Twitter and shit. They read
there.
Yeah. They on woke Twitter. And this is their attempts to keep up with the times. But I said all of that to say what? We got to bring it back to the conversation about King Charles and the crown and the monarchy, right? And them becoming irrelevant, before our eyes, and what can that potentially mean? Because at the end of the day, we're only really leveraging things against liberation. Like, all right, well, what does this mean for liberation? What does this mean for indigenous people globally? Right? That's the lens through which I'm ultimately going to come back to see things, because that's really all I care about. You know what I mean? So right. A weakened monarchy to me kind of always spells the ability for the slaves to get away from the plantation and run a little bit further. You know what I'm saying? Until they could create a maroon society and hold things down. Now I'm speaking, proverbially speaking, but I'm also speaking very literal as well.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we see a lot of the Caribbean nations now breaking off. Like, nah, y'all is weak. There's nothing that I'll get for, they talking greasy to them. We see the African nations now talking greasy to the U.S.
Right.
We've never seen
that before.
Right. Even if it's theater, which I'm very well convinced that it is, right? But we still never seen it.
Right. That's a fact. Some new shit.
You know what I mean? And it looks good on the Africans.
It looks good. It came at such a late time in the game. God damn, and shit would have looked sexy pre-Obama. Nah,
They
I get it. I
they
feel you.
they ain't had to back up.
I feel you.
You know, the
And
had
if it's an indication,
yeah.
right? I would love to see Africa. You know, I wanted to see Russia's influence on Africa a little bit stronger when they were really pushing during the Cold War. You know, um, I guess I would like to see, you know, if you were to say, because at the end of the day, when we talk about Africa, no disrespect to my Africans out there, but at the end of the day, you know, we got to decide, Africa, y'all niggas is signed to a team. You know, you do have a label head. Let's be clear. You're not independent artists. Not yet. So we just trying to decide who looks better for you as a label owner. Signed to a Chinese label, signed to a Russian label, signed to a European label, or signed to a fucking American label. You know what I mean? But yeah, regardless of the fact, you niggas is signed to a label. Okay.
Yeah, Boris Records still got your
Morris Records still got you niggas signed up. So you're gonna be a part. You're not you're the talent. You're not the management yet. Let's see where Afro Beats is in 40 years. Maybe that should get you some more power. But as it stands right now, you know, you're the talent. You know what I mean? There's somebody that's pushing you. Somebody's behind you. You know what I'm talking about? All that talking coming, you know, it's not coming only from you. The IMF got these niggas tied up.
Of course not. Right? But you know, where else, like, or how else, you feel me, is it gonna happen? Like I said, they didn't have the wherewithal because they didn't have the backing to speak like this.
Right.
And to stand this particular level of firm. Yeah, somebody got their hand up their back. Somebody's always had their hand up their back.
Here go to another question. Has Russia owned slaves? What the fuck does it matter? You know what I mean? What does it matter? If they did, what does it matter?
Yeah, just answer the question.
No, they didn't. According to
it could have been an honest inquiry. Like,
yeah, I know that, but no, they're not necessarily slave owners. You know, Russia is Russia. They play a heavy. You ever play cards or poker, right? And Russia's just at that table and they playing their hand the way that they play their hand. Russia, though, when our people were going through what they were going through in Jim Crow, right, before the quote unquote revolution that took place in Russia, right, against the aristocracy, our people were being treated very, very well, right? They were exposed to Black Russians. What was that, Pete? It's a famous Russian, Peter the Great, right? And all of the contributions that our people played a part in. Yeah, shout out to Tartaria and all of that. Some of the Russians plotted to kill Farrakhan. Okay. And there's a bunch of Israelis that got your people's brains hanging out the side of their fucking head, but that doesn't stop y'all from, you know, talking about all things Israeli. Okay. Yeah, Alexander Pushkin, Hannibal, Rasputin, you know.
Yeah, I was about to say.
We're talking about Asia. This is Asia. Like, let's stop. I don't even like using the word Russia. This is Asia. They have more of our history throughout those mountains and throughout those regions in the Black Sea and things of that nature, Caspian Sea. You know, there's a lot of research.
Yeah, but it goes without. I mean, you know, I can't say that it goes without saying we can't take it for granted because this is also the region of which the Caucasus Mountains and everything is located. So we just can't be like, oh, it's Asia, it's Eurasia. This is
No,
the Caucasian.
Asia Major, Asia Minor.
Yeah, so they have not categorically been heavy-handed on melanated people per se. However, you know what I mean? As is the case with everything, you know, you know, this is not a situation about, oh, I like you. You know what I'm saying? It's leveraging. What can I get out of the situation? And there's a lot that Russia gains to benefit, right, from being in the good grace of Africa, especially during this particular time when they are having a political joust match for positioning, especially when it comes to military bases, right? And it also comes to military bases coupled with mineral mining and military bases. We are still in the quantum arms race, or
Right.
quantum
So
space, right? And they also are purveyors of large amounts of you know, of energy in terms of oil and gas and things of that nature. You feel me? Like they got what Africa want, and Africa got what they need. So this is politics, y'all. This is how the things happen. This is, they said, politics makes for strange bedfellows. This is what they mean, right?
Right.
This is what they mean. So this is not about favoritism. This is not about, yo, I like you, as opposed to, you feel me? I gotta leverage this relationship to put myself in a better position where I'm in better striking distance of the real ops, right? You a hoe. No, sorry. I'm only saying that because a good friend Pimpin' Ken said you're either a hoe or a pimp. So in the dynamic,
Yeah, the name of the game.
when we talk about politics, where's Africa positioned? Africa's always going to be positioned for the back shot. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
She's not yet. She ain't got the strap on giving nobody else shots. She's not in that position yet. She has
She
not
not
gotten
the
off her knees.
one. Yeah, she not swiping her key to walk into the hotel suite. She's the
Yeah.
one on the bed. Like somebody else is walking in the room.
So she went from being tied up, she went from being gagged up, right? Now she has freedom to roam about the room. She's in the penthouse now, right?
She's in a better place. You know
And
what
they
I mean? She's
treat her
wearing slippers.
she's a
Yeah.
high price prostitute.
She's a high price. She's now a sex worker
Yeah, and then
versus what she was before. Yeah, I mean, isn't that respectable out there? Respectfully,
I mean,
you know what I mean?
you got to
People
get.
say that shit with their chest out. Like, I'm a sex worker. Like, nigga, I got a skill set. You know what I'm talking about?
They like,
No
look,
hands.
they
Yeah, no gag reflexes.
I pay my taxes.
I'm skillful.
I'm a W-2 worker.
That part. Yeah, there's forms for that. You could go to the post office and get a form for your work. Like,
get taxes back for that. You feel me?
Yeah, Africa done leveled up. You know what I'm talking about?
I found.
Hey, cut it out.
She been taken care of. You know what I mean? They got slippers for her and everything. You know what I'm talking about? It used to be more crazier a few years ago, you know? But Blue does a very good job of the geopolitical landscape. He's able to articulate it. He's been doing this for a very long time. The news cycle in 2023 is a geopolitical news cycle. Moving into 24 with the presidency, it's going to even become more of a geopolitical conversation. It's very important to understand all of the players in this theater, both good and bad actors. Okay? Good and bad actors. Yes, the oldest paintings of Russia, Jesus was melanated. You know, Russia goes hard on the Black Madonna. There's even a video going viral with Vladimir Putin, and he's unveiling a melanated Christ, you know, to the world.
Again, it's not a secret, right? But then what? You feel me? Because it don't mean nothing to them that they are unveiling it or that they know this. What does it mean to you as a people? And how can you utilize, once again, the information or the knowledge to empower yourselves? Because we are in the age of knowledge. So
Right.
how can you, right? At the same time, you got the Arabs in Egypt smacking you and sitting you down, right, for a history lesson. Well, how can you utilize this information, right? This knowledge as power, right? Okay, there's
Yo,
places on the planet. You feel
know what
me?
I'm saying?
Well,
I
why
didn't see.
passport bros don't go to Russia and be taking no pictures with the Black Madonna and the Black Jesus so we could stop seeing antiquated old ass pictures from the 80s of what it looked like? Or they like, yeah, that got soot on it. Rub the face and see if the soot come off.
Right. With my yeah, passport bros. I need you niggas on a recon mission, man. Y'all just out there cutting young Dominicans and shit like that in Colombia. Go to Spain and take some pictures, little nigga. Like go over where they hiding our information, passport bro. Why you niggas can't cut the old lady or old Becky at the front desk?
Yeah, get some
Uh,
info. The
You,
Vatican
you
Library.
know, Cameron said that he boned secretaries, my nigga. Like y'all
Yeah,
not utilizing, you not utilizing your passport broisness. You niggas is not on Scooby Doo time. I want to solve the mystery. You know what I mean?
yeah, you're not swiping in the right
You're
fashion.
not swiping in the right direction, my brothers. Like we need you niggas to be on your James Bond shit. You know what I mean? Be on Jerome Bond and go over there and knock down the fucking clerk and get in the Vatican catacombs. I need you to knock down 66-year-old Vatican secretary who been working there for 80 years and get us some fucking information. You know what I mean? For all of my sisters going to Dubai for the Golden Shower Festival, I need y'all to get on your Jane Bond shit too, because y'all don't be having no breakthroughs. Yeah. I mean, y'all be right next. You be in rooms with Pope John, with Pope,
Yeah,
with the Pope and everybody.
come back with no Sunico, no
Yeah,
sun
yeah,
plugs. Like
yeah.
nobody got the plug on the oil.
You know what
The
I'm saying? Like
barrels
all
for
of
$100.
all
Your
of my
boo
sex
thing, he
workers
can't
in
get it.
Atlanta,
Yeah, he can't get it
y'all
to you
not
for
even coming back
$100.
with no OPEC stocks.
Y'all got no OPEC stocks.
God damn,
None of that. Y'all ain't hustle no trade secrets or nothing that you.
nothing,
Come on, son.
nothing. Y'all not even at Davos. You know what I'm saying? Your neck, did the neck not promote you to a fucking higher level? Like, could we get you in Davos? Can you go live in Davos or somewhere?
And
Like,
they said the sex worker thing at Davos is a heavy
it's
component.
heavy. It's
I don't
heavy.
ever, yeah,
If I wasn't put up, I would go.
I don't
It's
never see the
heavy. I
South
would.
Beach Stallions like they don't be going to Davos and you know you're not positioning your that's bring back to positioning.
Back to
You know,
positioning.
for
Yeah, y'all
proper
not
whole,
positioned right.
yeah, you're not positioning yourself to scale your your whole
Look, they
task.
at the Met Gala right now, wearing anything at the Met Gala. Niggas is looking crazy, right?
Yeah,
Niggas is out there, Bad Bunny and all of them. Ladies, I wish I had a killer set of legs and whatnot. Why y'all not lead? They said that the queen could go in places that the king can't. Passport sisters, I need y'all to do some recon work. We need we need answers, man. It just can't be from brothers on YouTube giving y'all all of these facts. We need some fucking you know what I mean?
we
We
need
need some
tangibles, right. We need some tangibles.
we need tangibles, y'all.
Yeah,
We need
yeah.
tangibles. I mean,
We
god
got-
damn it. Y'all are in them rooms right now. I heard about y'all. Y'all are in those rooms. Y'all next to everybody. You got mayors in your DMs.
you got your body next to
You
everybody.
feel me? Your bonnet is being seen in many places. Y'all got lawyers in your DM, mayors, all kind of political figures. Like, could we get some blackmail or something? God damn. Yeah, man. Like, we need to get this shit going. We need to get this shit going. Somebody said I got some good legs. I know. I'm about to wear some motherfucking with them shorts, the hoochie daddy shorts,
Good, son.
and try my hand. I'm gonna go to the NCAA. I'm gonna go to an Eastern Star gathering.
All right,
Go get
man.
me some aunties.
Segue this conversation.
Somebody said pull up on the boat. Look at Blue. You about to leave? You good? You hanging out with us?
Yeah.
Nah, but yo, it's a lot of shit going on, man. Like, what's your feelings about the bank failure?
I mean, it was inevitable. They just propped it up, and they just they stretched out the collapse so it wouldn't be so apparent that the dominoes are falling and toppling. So they just stretched it out, and because of people's attention span, you know, they're gonna see it as a singular event other than an event horizon disconnected, you know what I'm saying, to something else because of the
Right,
time and the singularity factor. What's the singularity factor? If they could single something out and just give you one thing at a time, then that's all you're really gonna engage in. You know what I
right.
mean?
You won't
Um,
tie the two together.
yeah, and these conversations are being led by media, so it all is gonna depend on how much of a big of a deal they make of it. You know what I'm saying? But we are in the month of Taurus or the season of Taurus, and Taurus is dealing with finances, banks, and large institutions of money.
Right,
So when we get around that Scorpion moon, that Taurus moon, of which last year there was a blood moon, there was a full eclipse blood moon. That's when they took Slime down.
right.
Yeah, Young Thug and YSL came down during that moon.
When is the next Scorpion one coming
It,
up?
it's in sometime in
In May.
May, yeah, and that's also when the lunar moon, the lunar token with the USD cryptocurrency, the USD, the UST it was the peg cryptocurrency
Right.
stable coin, right?
Hmm.
That's when those two coins tank, and the tanking of those two coins pretty much set off the the downward slide, if you will, of the cryptocurrency market. And also, of course, it had a very large indelible effect on the financial market, point blank, period. But once again, they only feed you the news, separate. You know what I'm saying? So they like, yeah, crypto's over here, banking is over here. You feel me?
Right.
Even though you just saw in the last situation, right, with silver, um, what was it called? Silicon Valley collapsed, but then the crypto bank collapsed at the same time. They don't talk about it.
Right.
Right? So every time you see a fluctuation in one, it affects the other, you know?
Right.
Okay.
So
Maybe,
on Cinco de Mayo, we got a
uh-huh.
full moon lunar eclipse in Scorpio. Bomba Clyde.
Oh, damn.
Y'all get ready, y'all.
Okay.
This about to be lit.
So that's Friday.
And then the Scorpio gets inaugurated the next day.
It
So
gets
there goes your answer
right,
about the coronation.
right. So they're incorporating the coronation, right? And let me see. Let me.
Yeah. Yeah, what you doing? You getting your bag? Where you going? Okay.
From 2020 to 2021, right? I was in charge
You
of a conversation called Corona Rising
you
during
talk that
night
talk that shit.
when people was in a fear bag. I was being unapologetically optimistic, And I was explaining to people, me and Al-Kibalan, about the only person on the planet I could think of, you know, who coincidingly, you know, was advancing this narrative that while people were being shown C19 and the fear tactics that came along with that, we were explaining breakthroughs at a quantum level that are taking place inside of the melanated body, in particular, that we call the corona horizon. What was that meaning? That your sun, your solar plexus, which is tethered to your will, your courage, right, and your connection to the solar deity called the sun, it was
Right.
awakening inside of you. It was coming online at the same time that the sun in the sky was experiencing something called a solar maximum that happens every 11 years when the sun goes into the fullness of its power. This coincided with the 400-year period of which melanated people have been in slavery or bondage in this country, according to the narrative that has been given by the colonizers, of which um, they date market August 20th, 2019. This is what critical race theory comes out of, right?
Mm.
This critical race theory came out of Project 1619. There was a New York Times Magazine script that was released, I believe, around the time of August 2019 by a melanated woman who was explaining the 400-year anniversary of melanated people being captive in the Americas, and she was recounting our history as it applies to that. Me understanding that dynamic and understanding our relationship to the curse of Ham and the Canaanites, and right again, whether this is figurative or literal, whether we are those people literally or figuratively, whether we have adopted that identity, right? Whether they are speaking about us mythologically or not, we assume the role. So if we're the people who have been in bondage in a foreign land, and you don't have to be brought here from somewhere else for it to be a foreign land. The fact that you look up and you see a white Jesus on the church, my nigga, and it used to be an adobe or a longhouse with indigenous people, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Practicing indigenous customs, nigga, it's a foreign land to you because you have colonizers now in charge of your homeland that you are no longer in charge of, right? So you don't have to be brought here on the bottom of a boat for you to necessarily qualify for that mythos, right? To fall into place as the Canaanite people who have been in a strange and foreign land at the hand of foreigners for 400 years. So when that happened, right? I said, what? I said, oh, then we are in what's called the Jubilee period. The Jubilee period exists from August 2019 to August 2020, of
Yeah.
which I knew in December 2019 when I seen something on the horizon called C19. It wasn't called C19 at that time. It was called, I don't even know if I could say that word on
You
the,
can't. You can't. Not here. We
right?
know what it was called.
On the ice, right? The Paloma virus, right? They was calling it that. And I was like, nah, son, it can't be. We are, because I'm like, our celebration during this time period is you recognizing that you're children of the sun. This time period is you recognizing, right, the promises that have been made to the children of the sun. And ironically, during December 2019 is when our people were returning because the children of the sun are the golden children, ushering in a golden age. Hence the fact that in 2019 of December, when they were detecting C19 in China, our people were in Ghana returning to the Gold Coast, right?
Right.
You don't got bombs and shit. Anyway,
I don't got bombs right now. You
yeah.
all right?
All right. So
Yeah.
this observation, once again, that we were making without embellishment, right?
Yes.
But we are participating in the time honored tradition of myths telling and storytelling, right? Because we can fit ourselves into the story without forcing our way in.
Right.
So the Jubilee period deals with atonement, deals with partying, and deals with getting your affairs in order for the coronation period. And the
Right.
coronation period now takes place between 2021, you feel me? in 2022. And just so happens that was the year that the quote unquote queen kicks the bucket and sets up a quote unquote what they would consider a real coronation to take place now this year during this strong end, which will be hosting a Scorpio full moon eclipse, right? And ushering in a Scorpion king who's going to ascend to the crown, to the throne, who was born on our born day. Who happens to be 74 while we're 47. Right? So he is a mirror, if you will, right? He's almost like palindromic, you know what I'm saying, in regards to how he shows up.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So yeah. So this conversation around coronations and the rightful heirs of the throne taking their place on the throne,
right,
and not being engaged and entertained by, you know, what the window dressing of it is going to look like, right? Oh, they stole your divinity and gave it to somebody else. Now you're going to get caught in entertainment, paying high attention to some other nigga doing some shit that you're supposed to be doing on a cosmic ethereal level for yourself as you ascend to your throne and take your rightful place amongst the family of nations to say, yo, I'm back.
Boom.
Give me the piece of the kingdom. I'm ready to rule again. So the universe has been saying from the period of 2020 into 2023, right? Will the rightful heirs of the estate please stand up and take your rightful positions? That's what this time period has been about. Who are the kings? Who are the queens? And who's the paupers?
That part.
And these people have been running ramshod during your time in the sun, during your time in the light, during your time when you are to be restored as a people. What happened during 2021? Was they not atoning for their sins?
They were. They was cutting big checks.
Was our people not partying even during C-19?
They had PPP loans and they were shaking their ass.
Was the nigga who created the whole party mechanism for our people, how did they reward this nigga?
The one who created the party
Tory
mechanism.
Lane.
Tory Lanez.
The one whose name is Daystar, the one who is the Leo, the one who is the sun.
Right, because the
father's name is Sunstar.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Who I can't find his born date, but I don't need to because his name is Sunstar. So they represent, once again, in the mythos, in this elaborate narrative, this mythos that we're telling, right? Because the people don't gotta receive it for nothing other than that, right? But it's one hell of a story. He shot the girl in the foot. Foot is Pisces. She's an Aquarius. He's a Leo. They're polar opposites. Right? So we see the evidence of all of these things, and you know, all of it is working out so perfect. Oh, did we mention that they denounced the doctrine of discovery 44 days after we did the lecture? Whenever, come on now. And at the end of the lecture, right, what was said? The only thing acceptable as redress for the crimes that brought them up on, the only thing that we said that we can accept from them is the full denunciation of the doctrine of discovery, and it took place 44 days afterwards.
That's right. Can you hear the sound effects?
Yeah.
Legend.
You know, so I don't take that light again. Even if we're writing our own mythos, because it does not require embellishment at this point.
Nah, I don't.
It's real. There's receipts for it. You know what I'm saying? And if you were along for the journey, you bore witness to it. I don't have to bend, twist, no nouns, no verbs to make my shit fit perfectly. It is what it is. But the part still remains, right? Who are the royals amongst us? You know what I'm saying? And are they prepared and ready to take the throne, right? And
To this day, to this day, to this
rulership
day.
over the kingdom. And then it deals with a reformation of what rulership entails, because when you study the narrative of what is a king and what are the duties of a king, the king is the highest servant of the kingdom.
Right.
So the question would be, which one of y'all is ready for the highest service of humanity? Right? Which one of you are the highest servants amongst you? The one to do the quote unquote most good. That's relative. That's a relative term, because if you got to put your foot on somebody because they're not doing good, they're not going to feel that that's something good that you're doing. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
you know, who's going to be the reformer of righteousness and really assume that empty mantle, that empty throne. You feel me? So yeah, these are interesting times that we're living in. I'm totally amazed by the mythos and the narrative that's taking place in real time.
Right.
You know, it's very storybook. You know what I'm saying? But we got a better story than ChatGPT could come up with.
That part.
And when I say we, I mean us as a people. You know what I'm saying? The those that are tuned in and tapped into the mythos, to the story, to the narrative, and appreciate it as such. You feel me? Shit. Welcome to my imaginarium, right? The beauty of it is you can be like, yo, I don't even want none of this shit to be real.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It could
Yeah, no,
purely
gotta be
exist
real.
from imagination, and that's
Look,
such a
what's more powerful?
imagination.
REEL or REAL? Keeping it real, REEL, or keeping it real, REAL. And when I say REEL, I mean, are y'all gonna remember a blockbuster film like a Black Panther that introduced you to story arcs and characters and special effects and all kind of other things? Or would you remember a speech by a real Black Panther from the 60s and whatnot? You know what I mean? And I don't mean the embellished part. I mean like an audio recording of, Huey P or one of them talking that shit. Or are you gonna walk away remembering Wakanda forever? Right. So that's the REEL, right? And we were explaining earlier the power of Hollywood or the power of the script, because it's not just a moving picture, it's the script, it's the story. You know what I mean? The magic of the script, the telling of the story, or the formula that the story is following and whatnot. We know that the Asaurian myth is one of the most repeated stories in all of history, especially in theater. And the Asaurian myth involves Heru, Set, and Offset.
Right. I mean, the saw. Right.
Asar. So we have to begin to ask ourselves, what story are we willing to tell? Like, yeah, I get your real story, your REAL. That's cool. Yeah, you lit, nigga. What's your mythos, my nigga? Like, when are you gonna bend the spoon? Like, what's your superhero? What's your imagination looking like? Fuck you.
I mean,
Hold on, family.
yeah.
So, I know, we all familiar with the story of how you took a L, but give me the embellishment give me the what if, give me the story give me the mythos about how you ultimately win the war.
Give me
That's
the
all
Jenga. Right.
Yeah, that's all I'm at.
Yeah. Man, what was I gonna say? Yeah, imagination.
Imagination.
Our imagination.
Yeah.
the mind's eye. I was reading an article earlier about the mind's eye, science, their research into the faculties of imagination, you know what I mean?
Right.
And pinning it down from a scientific standpoint, trying to explain it and all of that, all the jargon that they use, all that
Yeah,
stale
yeah. All that
up
lexicon.
with. Yeah, you know what I mean? And yeah, man, it's just, you know,
I would encourage our audience to do way more reading. I would encourage our audience, especially those of y'all who consider yourselves to be in school, right, at the feet of what is called the master teachers, to begin to receive the information that's being given to you, but run it through a filter. You know what I mean? Run it through a faculty where and this is not for everyone. This is for the creative minds out there. Run it through a certain type of filter to whereas you can squeeze what you need from these stories or from a lecture that Bobby is giving or what Phil is kicking or something that Sabi might drop on you or one of Dr. Delbert Blair's titles and begin to extract. You have permission to do that. Begin to extract and take that extraction and whatnot and utilize principles of alchemy. Turn base metal into gold. It's not difficult, you know what I mean? But it's something that everybody is not going to necessarily hear and carry on and whatnot, because this message that I'm throwing out there is not for everybody. You will not be on a crowded stage when you decide to pick that up and do something with it. However, you will be on a big ass stage if you decide that you want to take that and do something with it, because it's a lot of power in it. A lot of power, a lot of concentrated power in these stories. And the heavy lifting has already been done. You don't even got to do a lot of heavy lifting. Go ahead, Blue. We about to get out of here, so we wrapping it up.
yeah. I think you said it all. There's a lot of, unfortunately, there's a lot of price to be paid for the REAL. I'm seeing people pay it continuously, and you know, I very rarely see people have to pay that same price for embracing the REEL and understanding that there's a safe space, a level of protectorate that comes along with that. As long as you're not buying into your own myth and faking the funk, you know what I'm saying? You have to learn where the thin line exists. Art can insulate you, but don't step into, you know what I'm saying, or step over that very thin line. Or if you do, just be very calculated, because I cannot tell you what to not do. You feel me?
Yeah,
Just,
I mean,
yeah, just know, you
the
know.
tools, the all right. So real quick, think LLM, right? Going back to the conversation that we was having earlier about
Right.
the English Codex.
And
The words
what does that stand for the people?
large language model, right?
Give me an
So
example.
large language model would be chat, not chat GPT. Well, chat GPT is a large language model, and GPT-3,
Mhm.
right, would be the quote unquote foundation. It's the engine, right? It's the engine in which the LLM is built from. A large language model would be akin to a mouth, right? The engine, which is
But
GPT-3 and GP3.5, huh?
give it a condensed definition. What is all right? It's a mouth, cool. But what is that mouth expression? What is a LLM? What is a large language model?
Okay, a large language model is an engine. They call it a conscious engine or a reasoning engine, or in some circles, they're calling it a persona engine, right? And what it's doing is it's taking, one would say that it would be predicting your next thought, but it's a lot of research that shows that it's doing much more than that. Okay.
Right, but by definition, How is it doing these things? Define it. Give it that.
All right, I'm gonna just give it I'm gonna break it down in layman's term. You know, autocorrect or auto spell correct that
Yes.
we are familiar with on our
Yes.
QWERTY keyboards. So
Yes.
the way that right, so
Or
that
hold on, let me explain. Like if I'm writing an email,
right,
right, and I'm saying something, and the computer projects the next few words that I may say,
right,
right?
right,
That's based on the computer having a database of a million different examples of how the English language may utilize the next word, right? So if I say, can I, right?
kick it,
It very well may come out and say, can I kick it? Now, in our memory, because we are culturally astute to our experience, right? We know that cultural nuance. So we could automatically be like, only thing somebody got to be like, can I? And
kick,
automatically be like, kick it.
because of our nuances, like you
Because
said.
of our nuances, right? Right. So that is predictive. You're able to fill in the blanks. How do you now program a computer to do that? That is LLM.
Right. And keep in mind,
Okay.
they're being trained on English. They're not training LLMs on German. They're not training LLMs on the Chinese quote unquote language. They're training them on English. The programming languages are in English.
Mm-hmm.
Python, see, all of the program languages are in English. English
Yeah, they say
is
English is now a programming language, period. Right.
the best program language ever. And I didn't even touch that button. That shit touched itself. Calm down, AI. We know you sentient. You don't gotta prove it.
Yeah, calm down.
Yeah, relax. Well, we unplug you, Wally. But the English codex or the English language is a very unique language. Like I said, there was a show that you did with Cambada on Black Magic 363, which is considered to be a classic. I would love to see the book version of that. Words or Worlds.
It'd be what the AI it glitched you. You said what?
I would love to see a book.
No, what you said
or
before.
Words or Worlds.
Before that, you said it's considered to be
A classic.
obviously
The episode that you did with Cambada.
LLM. They just had to hear that. They just had to finish that.
Yeah, on Black Magic 363.
Yes.
Maybe a year ago or something.
Yeah.
I would definitely revisit that. And going back to what you were saying earlier, you was asking a question about how the LLMs work and the predictive model. So like I was saying, there's something called scrapers, right? That they utilize on the internet. So the internet is basically indexed and cataloged. And these are humongous data sets. And to be honest with you, they're all mostly, not all of them, but a large majority of them are open source, right? They're open source. I have an article right here. I'm on my Bobby shit. Let me get this article right here and put this on. Remember, they used to put it on. So here's an article.
Niggas pulling articles out.
That's right. Up your shit. Hold on.
Yeah,
Nah. What happened?
What happened to screen shit?
What happened to screen? Nah, nigga. I'm taking it back. I'm on my master teacher shit. I'm taking it back. Old school.
You gotta have to
Put it with a projector at. Put that bitch on the it's acetate. Put it on the acetate projector. Okay, so LAION, right? You see that?
yeah.
LAION. You can Google it, right? These are the data sets, right? With over 5 billion images, ion, right? That's ion, LAION, right? Has become central to the future of artificial intelligence. This man is a school teacher in Europe, right? And he don't have to do this shit, but he created this open source of this data set of basically the internet, right? You could Google it right there, LAION, right? Go ahead and Google that, y'all. Somebody said, matter of fact, I'm gonna pull it up. And this is the exact data set that Stable Diffusion trains on, this is the data set that they basically built a lot of shit on, right? It is an open network. You have access to it. If you wanted to create your own LLM, you can very much go ahead and do it. The reason why people are not doing it is because nobody is telling us that we could do it. But I'm here to let you know it's open source. And what open source means in so many ways is basically anyone can do it. Open source means there's no excuse. Open source means stop falling for the quote unquote the remix about you're not worthy and all of this other stupidness. So these are different data sets. One is aesthetics. The other one is 400 million English image text pairs. This one right here is 5.85 billion multilingual clip filter text image pairs. This is aesthetic. It's a subset, is trained to score aesthetically pleasing images. Right? So here's all of the projects. These are all of the data sets. And these are the models right here, right? DALL-E 2. You know what I mean? These are different video clips. So not safe for work detection. Yeah. You know, yeah. I got the grown-up Mid-Journey. Okay. I got the grown-up Mid-Journey. Let's leave it at that. You know what I'm talking about? You could generate tatas. So where the Moors at? Because we could utilize a data set from the Moors. We could utilize a data set from the Kemites. I understand that they were, Hebrew Israelites. All of the research that your Nation of Islam, every single keystroke from a Nation of Islam from 1989 onward to right now, we could basically put that all in a one data set to train a large language model on Islam. That shit that y'all is into, Islam, right? MSTA, all of that hot shit y'all talking about. Yeah. No, I'm just playing. Shout out to the Islam to the Moors. Shalom to my Hebrew Israelites. Hotep to my Commission brothers and sisters. Brother Red Pill and Blue are here to let you know that your information is mostly it's on the internet. So if it's on the internet, then it should be cataloged. If you don't catalog it, somebody else is going to come along and catalog it, and they're going to present to you a model and whatnot, an AI model built off of your work, your research, your pages and whatnot, everything that you kind of like signed off on the internet that you didn't really realize that you were signing off on, but it's all right here. So these are some of the quote unquote intricate throughways to power.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
You're showing them, right? That
we're exposing to you.
Kind of power,
Yes.
Go play, you know what I'm saying? And, come out with a classic.
Right.
And failure to do such means that, by default, you have defaulted on your claim, right? And what is your claim is not going to be substantiated in the future if someone cannot draw up a AI version of it, right? You have to be able to go and qualify that on the internet, or now they're going to call it disinformation and banish it from the public corpus of knowledge, right? Where you probably won't even be able to speak about it in public because everything in public is going to be wired, and niggas going to be fact check, disinformation. Like you're going to be standing there arguing with a bot and
with a Boddington. Yeah. So that's a long story short.
Yeah.
As we move into the next 7 days, it is the beginning of May. Look forward. I will be doing some tech related AI videos. Just look out for that. I have some stuff in the clip that we're gonna let go of and put it out there in the conversation around AI right now, especially Auto GPT and the automated AI, the automated GPTs and whatnot. We need to have that combo right now.
Yeah,
So
we back in New York.
yeah, we're familiar with Hugging Face, Hugging GPT, and all of that. Yeah, Lang Chain and all of that.
Yeah.
Interface. Yeah, so these are mostly all open source. It is the power is yours. The power is yours. Claim it, take it back, and let's go. Go ahead, Blue.
Nah, I said we'll be back in New York this strong, and I think we're gonna get a soapbox on 125th and talk AI right on the block. On a Saturday for at
Yeah,
least 2 or 3 hours. We
yeah,
we need to bring this to the general public and really dialogue and dig in with our folks.
yeah. I want to have an open debate. You know what I mean? If anybody has any, of their because it's a town hall conversation.
We're not
That,
gonna do debate. We're gonna put an open call out for people to bring their information to the block, not to debate it, but to catalog it. Whatever you feel is your truth,
right.
right? Because there's a lot of factions that all roads lead to 125th. They all pass through the block. So we're gonna set up shop and bring your conversation, bring your commentary, bring your argument, bring your mythos.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That
Bring your
part.
comes to us so we can show you how to program AI with your consciousness, with your mind, how to externalize your mind into a digital format that it can now not only exist forever, but also compete forever.
That part. You feel me? So we're eager to be a part of that. We'll be back in New York, supporting our good brother 19 Keys at the Apollo. And then after that, it's I'm not gonna have any mercy after that. I'm gonna go and I'm going hard driving this information home with a stake, and we're not leaving New York until some type of seismic shift takes place because it's that time. It's spring, summer's around the corner. We outside. We really outside this time. And it is what it is. It's work to be done. I'm not gonna leave my city in shambles. You know what I mean? I'm not turning my back. I refuse. I will not. You know, this is an opportune time for many of us to snap back into reality and to get our quote unquote acts together, form Voltron, and really turn up. Boston, Philly, um, Detroit,
Baltimore.
Chicago,
Yeah.
Baltimore, New York. All of y'all have dates on the high level tour. All right, the high level conversations tour. That's gonna be huge. Dallas at the end of May. We're gonna be pulling up for Tariq Nasheed's
BA.
conference, the FBA conference on Memorial Weekend. That's in Texas. Be there for that. That's gonna be lit as well. You know what I mean? Um, the documentary is out, American Maroon. Make sure you catch that. That's online. You could go and watch that right now when you finish watching this and whatnot. That is on. I'm gonna go to the page so you can see it. Me and Blue is in the documentary, and the documentary is lit. You know what I mean? One of the top sellers on Amazon as well. If you want to go ahead and support it that way, um, go and do your thing. Okay. But yeah, man, it is what it is. If there's anything that you want to leave them with. I have a commercial that I'm going to leave us with. Then I'm
Uh,
going to close out with a song.
Build and Destroy podcast. The family can go and check that out right now. We got an episode up with 19. Matter of fact, Pimpin' Ken, again, don't judge a book by its cover. You
He went
be
in.
blown away, right, as to where this brother took this conversation. And yeah, I'm always being reminded, thankfully, by this community to not peg nobody. You know what I mean? You do not have it all figured out. All right. So let's be open and receptive to these narratives. We have other shows on that podcast with a lot of information. You know what I'm saying? A lot
Yeah.
of information, especially digging into some of what it is that we're speaking about tonight, especially as it pertains to AI. So you could go right here on YouTube, Build and Destroy podcast. If you are on any of the streaming networks, Spotify or the like is also over there. Okay. But yeah, please pull up and subscribe. We do need to run these numbers up on YouTube. They clipped us after our first show and they just recently reinstated us. We got a new understanding, a better understanding when it comes to the tube and what flies and what doesn't. So we're gonna respect their house. You know what I'm saying? And they're gonna respect our mouth. Pause. And
Ooh, man, what are you talking about?
you
Like
know
your mouth.
what it is that's coming out of our mouths, our commentary.
Ah, I
So
hear
we
you.
how in it, put some respect on that thing because you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, Build and Destroy podcast.
check it out, y'all.
Subscribe, run it up, please. Check the episodes out. Leave comments. Let us know what you think. Honestly, you feel me? Shout out to Tyreek Bay. Shout out to the brother Malik Deshaun. We bring a very unique perspective to this podcast because all different participants have modalities of um, reading, right, if you will, right,
Right.
how to
Skill
properly
sets.
ask the answer to a question, whereas Red might use AI. Malik Deshaun is using the cardologies, right? Tyreek is using the I Ching. I'm using the Law of 44. And in my own, and I'm a conglomeration of reasoning as well to come to a consensus,
Yeah.
right? And yeah, this is how we're doing that in terms of utilizing our, because these are all technologies, ancient albeit technologies, but technology nonetheless. We're
Ancient and modern.
ancient and modern technologies to come up with answers for questions that have been properly prompted.
Beautiful.
Okay?
Yes.
Yes.
So with that being said, family, we want to say thank you for pulling up and
Thank you for having
kicking
me.
it with us. Yeah, of course. You already know.
And yeah, shout out to the Family Mineral Ministries. We put an episode up, our 51st one yesterday, right here on Know the Ledge Media. So if you missed that, you could check the sermon out. It was powerful. We went in as always, of course. Next Strong In, we're gonna be celebrating our 52nd episode, which will signal a year, right, of putting in sermons over at Mineral Ministries. Once again, utilizing a very proper perspective and approach towards coming up with answers for questions that have been properly prompted. That
That's right.
people have been wrestling with all their lives, dealing with religion, religious institutions, and spirituality. You know what I'm saying? So we do the best that we can
Yeah,
to aid and assist in coming up with answers.
that part.
Real, real talk.
Yes, indeed. Once again, I've been getting hit up while I was doing the show. We got the Delta 44 and we got the Delta 88 out there. Okay. Yeah. For the first 44 people who respond, we are getting we're basically this is a giveaway. However, it is definitely you paying for your shipping and you're also gonna give a little donation as well. You feel me? So
Right.
Cash App, you know what to do. Do what it do. Can you hear me, Blue?
Yep.
Yeah, do what it do. I'm gonna put the Cash App right there. What's understood don't need to be explained. Love and light to the family. We are
Yeah.
gonna
Also want to put one last thing out. The Dear Mama Challenge. I wanna pull up just like I was having a prolonged conversation earlier with Red about this docu-series called Dear Mama about Tupac and his mama and
yeah,
everything surrounding that. I want to dialogue. I want to have a conversation with y'all. Lay it all out. But you gotta catch the series. You know what I'm saying? So if you've seen it, bet. If you haven't, you know what I'm saying, and you have some time set aside, it's not long. There's 3 parts of the series out now. I think it's streaming on Hulu, right?
Yes.
Check it out so we could dialogue. We could have a real grown discussion about their mama. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we'll have an open line, and then we'll open up the line, and we'll
Yes.
let our people pull up and talk that talk. You know what I mean? Talk about this documentary and why it's important. And you know, we welcome that conversation.
Valuable.
Especially
So the market needs a correction.
especially, hold on.
Needs to shake up a little bit.
Especially since we've been having these nostalgia conversations about how our culture was given birth, the upward, quote unquote, challenges that it faced, the fact that hip hop was not accepted by many of our households. And we're also going to explore crack culture and drug culture, for that matter. I'm sorry. And the detriments or the detrimental effects of said culture on our people that you can also see in the documentary how it was taken down the greatest of our people.
Yes. And with that,
I keep cutting Blue. I'm sorry, Blue.
it's all good. I gotta make a dash to the restroom myself. So I want to say thank you to the family again. Peace, love, and light. And I will catch you on the next one.
Peace. You done know. All right.
Bro, peace.
Peace, peace. So yes, family, here's a commercial for 40 AIs in a Mule. That is our monumental course. It is about 10 hours, and you have access. It's thousands of dollars worth of information and also access that you'll be receiving. Toolkits, AI galore, you name it. That's in the course. The website is 40 AIs in a Mule. And the music that we'll be ending this with is Red Opals. Yeah, off of the new project coming called Buy Red Gold. This is produced by my good brother Rain 910. Shout out to that brother. Shout out to all of y'all. Love and light. Like I said, even before Thursday, we'll be doing some lives on this channel. So make sure you subscribe and make sure you hit that bell, hit the like button and all of that fly shit. Sign up to Patreon. The Patreon is lit. The Patreon got information, outformation. It is a chock full. It is a repository of all kind of information, especially dealing with AI. My good brother Steven, aka in Cairo, does his weekly class on the Patreon. We are 4 weeks into his monumental class on precious metals. That is the precious metals weekly class with brother in Cairo. All right, for all of my rainbow opals or higher, 444 every Friday. We are 4 classes in, and I think we got 44 members and whatnot. Lit. Hold on.
You don't find that suspicious? You don't find that suspicious?
Yeah, so we doing a damn thing. And shout out to all of my Patreons. Yeah, so love and light, y'all. Peace.
So they begin to reanalyze, reevaluate a little bit, so they could begin to reanalyze, reevaluate things that are not valuable. So the market needs a correction, needs to shake up a little bit, so they could begin to reanalyze, reevaluate, reassess, audit a lot of these people who are giving values in our community, so the people could see, oh, okay, those people are valued more because they mean more, you know. So once we get that, we'll be able to go in a more straighter, you know, because we'll be able to assess our skills and our skill sets and what we possess. And if we don't have what we need, there are gig services all around the planet. One of the most beneficial, I would say, in the past 20 years, you know, the gig economy, it is very evolutionary. It makes a lot of sense, you know. You pay somebody for a service that you need, and then you're good. Fair exchange, no robbery. So go to Fiverr and give people in Bangladesh and people in Angola, right? Or you could even give it to somebody doing time in Angola, because there was a story of a few people that was getting a lot of bread off of Fiverr, and they was doing Fivers. You know what I mean? They had 5 to 20. You feel me? So the gig economy is beneficial for anybody who has the skill set. You know, I would love to create a version of Fiverr amongst the 5s, you know what I mean, and the 6s, you know, so we can extract revenue and help them find and find some gigs and whatnot, so they could basically be in a safe environment, you know, living their best life, making bread by taking care of gigs, doing tasks and whatnot, coding, designing, you know, the same dream that Nipsey had for them. You know? So it's to my understanding that our culture has pockets of individuals and groups who have a lot of expendable income. And if that expendable income was now turned into investment income or investment vehicles, they would see a difference in their returns. I would say in the next 2 to 3 to 5 years, there would be a seismic shift. But this is the day and time to start it. You know what I mean? This is definitely the jump point, the great reset, the opportune time. This is the trampoline in which to do backflips off of. This is the time to do the quantum leap. You know, this is it. 40 years after, right? We in 23. You had 83 with the Philadelphia experiment, right? Jumping through the time space portal. Now it's another time that we're in what they call quantum mania. So the AI is just speeding it up. But we are in a quantum. We went from a binary to quantum. That's without a doubt. That's without a doubt. And we need more people to explain that to our people. So people perish from a lack of knowledge. We just lack that space being crowded. We need to crowd that space like we crowding all of the other spaces in the podcast world and in the content creating world and whatnot. And that's why Know the Ledger is going to fill that void. That's a space that we're going to fit very comfortably in, because we've been in that space for more than a decade, and we love this space, you know, have a love for this space. So yeah, thank you for that question.
Up in the Dumbo, smoking the gumbo. Few blocks before green, yet up in the jungle, coking the bundles. It's history in the making. I'm popping like fish to the grease and the bacon. My bitch is Jamaican. United we stand, dividing these bands. They hide in their hands. I'm riding in vans, slide through your land. Hopping the sprinters, tore the underworld, popping the minter. Land of the turtles, I'm popping that splinter. Watching the snowfall, dropping the winter. Dodging the pitfalls, watching this bitch fall. And I still managed like Rich Paul. The paper was calling, I had to go switch calls. I spoke to my twin, I told my young boys I'd never be broken again. Invoking the gins, spitting the spirits, I'm soaking the gin. Your man's in the woods, we smoking on him. What do you mean? We up and squeeze, tuck it and leave, we leaving a stain. Fuck up for breeze, running the banks, causing a crashing. Feather the feds, Moorish the fashion. Horse was smashing, kicking the door. Wave on 4/4, it was blasting. Mother the gassing, loving the passion. Eat on your food, the brother was up in the Dumbo, smoking the gumbo. Few blocks before green, yet up in the jungle, coking the bundles. It's history in the making. I'm popping like fish to the grease and the bacon. My bitch is Jamaican. United we stand, dividing these bands. They hide in their hands. I'm riding in vans, slide through your land. Hopping the sprinters, tore the underworld, popping the minter. Land of the turtles, I'm popping that splinter. Watching the snowfall, dropping the winter. Dodging the pitfalls, watching this bitch fall. And I still managed like Rich Paul. The paper was calling, I had to go switch calls. I spoke to my twin, I told my young boys I'd never be broken again. Invoking the gins, spitting the spirits, I'm soaking the gin. Your man's in the woods, we smoking on him. What do you mean? We up and squeeze, tuck it and leave, we leaving a stain. Fuck up for breeze, running up banks, causing a crashing. Feather the feds, Moorish the fashion. fashion. Horse we was smashing, kicking the door. Waving 4-4s, it was blasting. Mother the gassing, loving the passion. Eat on your food, the brother was fasting. The weapon that formed against me was me. Perfected the storm as Bentley receipts. Washing the Benjis, we rinse and repeat. Century of self, I'm centered on me. Red as the pillar, I'm pushing the piece. Higher the level, I'm pushing the keys. They going for 19.
Pull up, hotness, pull up.
A Dumbo, smoking a gumbo. Few blocks before green, yet up in the jungle. Coking the bundles, it's history in the making. I'm popping like fish to the grease and the bacon. My bitch is Jamaican. United we stand, dividing these bands. They hide in their hands, I'm riding in vans. Slide through your land, hopping the sprinters. Tore the underworld, popping the minter. Land of the turtles, I'm popping that splinter. Watching the snowfall, dropping the winter. Dodging the pitfalls, watching this bitch fall. And I still managed like Rich Paul. The paper was calling, I had to go switch calls. I spoke to my twin, I told my young boys I'd never be broken again. Invoking the gins, spitting the spirits, I'm soaking the gin. Your man's in the woods, we smoking on him. What do you mean? We up it and squeeze, tuck it and leave, we leaving a stain. Fuck up for breeze, running the banks, causing a crashing. Feather the feds, Morris the fashion. Horse we was smashing, kicking the door. Waving 4-4s, it was blasting. Mother the gassing, loving the passion. Eat on your food, the brother was fasting. The weapon that formed against me was me. Perfected the storm as Bentley receipts. Washing the Benjis, we rinse and repeat. Century of self, I'm centered on me. Red as the pillar, I'm pushing the piece. Higher the level, I'm pushing the keys. They going for 19. The summer is mine, I'm going for 19. Thunder and lightning flooded a bright lane. The hunger was biting, hunger was biting.